Hello and welcome to another episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
I'm Chris Hughes.
And I'm Bobby Trippett.
And today we're going to be talking about 1986's Spookies.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no real culture.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
You could have looked decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy would have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
Oh, okay. Well, so I guess it does have a trailer, right?
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
Well, let's take a listen to the trailer.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Chris Hughes.
I want to help out.
That's weird. No name.
Happy birthday, Billy.
Come on, Megan. It's spooky as hell inside.
So this episode today is brought to you by one of our patrons, Julie Siegler, who had donated to the show in the past. She's also a member of the Patreon. She's a patron of the Patreon.
And she's a patriot. She loves her country.
Just like Hughes, he's got his American flag shirt on today.
And she's smashing the patriarchy.
And this is a request from Julie. Julie, thank you so much for your patronage of the Grindbin. Bobby, this is beyond a request, one of your favorites. This would have been a trip up.
It would absolutely have been a trip up, no question. I am a big fan. I'm currently wearing a Spookies t-shirt as we record this. Not afraid to say so. I first saw this movie in an all-night horror marathon in a theater packed full of screaming people at like 2 or 3 in the morning, which is the best way to see this film.
Oh, wow.
And tell the audience why you own that Spookies t-shirt.
Oh, I own the Spookies t-shirt because the vinyl soundtrack has been released on TerraVision Records, and if you order it through them, you can get a package deal that comes with the shirt.
Wow. So TerraVision is not only a satellite TV network, but now they're also releasing soundtracks. Huh?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Go give them a look.
So guys, it's a little bit different today. We're going to get into the movie before we get into the cast and the crew.
I'm so excited to do this. I can't wait.
No, we just need to get through the movie.
Whoa!
Or otherwise we're going to make a hard left and finish this podcast.
Is there a way
in like
we
2
can do the
minutes.
podcast at 2.0 speed? like we can do on YouTube, just kind of...
That's just like your opinion, man.
We'll see if this is a real trip up on this episode of The Grindbin.
Spoiler, I like this movie.
Whoa!
My man! Yes!
We
I knew
will,
I had you, man. I knew.
we'll be introducing the new feature at the end of this episode, which is called a Hughes Choose or a Hughes Booze. And we'll find out...
Sometimes it's a huge snooze. If you listen close enough, you
Huge
can,
snooze.
you can hear heavy breathing and what resembles purring.
I feel like Hughes is going to need some booze for this episode.
So, guys, we start. It's a graveyard night, a chained grave. It's moving up and down, kind of like a waterbed.
It's kind of breathing.
Looks like every bed you've seen in the red light district. Some of those south of the border towns, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they also probably have a chain over them as well.
Yeah, they do. Keep from getting in or getting out.
But this is like a part of the haunted mansion. It's
Yes.
just sort of
Yeah.
expanding. It's breathing.
Yeah.
It's moving around. We don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's like if the haunted mansion ride and the Thriller video kind of smashed into each other.
I could see that. We go to a guy in a chair, candles lit.
We cut to a Meatloaf video.
Yeah, so it's a guy like with candles in this room. Now, like, okay, he's not in a room at this point, though, right? He's like looking at a. Is he in a room or is he in the graveyard?
Listen, he's on a set. You don't really
yeah, I know he's
It
on
looks
a
like he's inside, and it looks like there's no walls around him.
He is
I don't know.
definitely in a soundstage.
Yeah,
No,
okay. Yeah.
He's in the room. with
Okay,
a
so he's in
coffin.
the room. At
Yeah.
first, I was like, is he in the graveyard? No, he's in a room. We'll keep cutting to this fucking guy.
Absolutely. He's
But-
looking over it going, I can wait no longer.
The final thing, yeah, I can wait no longer. But when I heard it without subtitles, I thought he said, I can rape no longer. And I'm like, oh, what the hell?
You know, that's a
Yeah.
positive way to start. It makes me
Yeah.
happy we don't have to deal with that.
So in my
Can we
notes,
call him Harvey?
Well, in my notes, I just started calling him grave rapist. I thought at some point he was going to rape a grave. And he kind of does, so.
Spoilers.
He says the final foolish victims will be here soon. Once again, we shall be together for all time. Is what he's talking to the coffin. And again, I was like, wow, this is really going with that whole grave rape type of thing. Because, oh boy, I hope the body is not fresh. That's what I'm saying to myself.
We are already uncomfortable.
Then we go to a boy walking through the woods.
Yeah, fuck all that. Let's jump to this.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. Well, we'll cut away from him, okay? But we'll establish that there's a young child in the woods next to this graveyard.
And he's filled a backpack. He's a traveling little lad.
He's 13 years old.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Not a
we'll,
young
we'll get to
child.
him, but we're going to introduce a whole bunch of people before, because this movie has this fucking thing that it likes to do where it'll start a scene and then just cut at like literally the worst part and then pick up somewhere off that I don't know where the fuck we are, what we're doing. Like, hey, let's just start a new story,
Some
huh?
stuff happened while we were
there's
away.
a reason for that, and I'm sure we'll get to that.
Oh, is that
in
the same
movie.
thing that like the third Lord of the Rings did too? Like build up a whole scene
This
and then
is-
cut.
Yeah, it's just
I agree with you. This is like Lord of the Rings.
like the Academy Award-winning Lord of the Rings.
The third one did not win an
Isn't it?
Academy Award,
I thought
did
that
it?
was
It
the
did.
only one that did.
Oh God.
No, it was one of those like they're really giving it to the whole series. That was their
yeah.
hey, thanks for wasting our time.
I saw it.
And,
I saw it more as like a PIA award.
Yeah, you know, the first
Yeah.
8 hours of that movie, of that trilogy, is really good.
And what do we get in response to him winning an award? Is he does this fucking Hobbit movie, and we got 45 minutes, a bunch of dudes singing at a dinner table.
Oh, I saw that
I don't
movie
want to
in the
listen to
theater.
45 minutes of a bunch of dudes sitting around a table.
I
Thank
only
you.
watched that part
Oh,
of that movie.
you would, Hughes. God damn it.
Christ.
I saw that movie in the theater, and I did not see it in its fucking 48p
Is it-
or whatever. the hell
like
they
the
were trying to
60
do.
frames per second
Yeah,
or
that
whatever.
can go
yeah.
fuck itself.
Yeah, what was up with that?
I see this movie, right? And I fucking hated it. Like that first hour of this movie, I'm like, oh God, I'm just checking, I don't have a watch, but I'm still checking it. Being like, is this, where are we going? And then it ends and I'm like, great, nothing happened. And my wife like enjoyed it, And then the second one comes out, I'm like, well, you liked the first one. Are we going to have to go to this? And we never saw another one again.
That was it.
Oh, fuck
So-
that movie.
So Billy's in the woods, and one thing that we've established while he's hanging out and pulling snack cakes out of his backpack is he's
Wait,
being
whoa. We have not gotten there.
Okay.
You have to do it in the way this movie
Okay,
does.
guide us
So,
through it.
Hey, ready? Kid, bye. We're in now, all of a sudden, a car.
We're watching Steve from Married with Children drive a station wagon.
We watch a kid take 2 steps into the woods, and then we go, nope, goodbye. We got something else to do. Go to this car, and the first guy... So we get to this guy I call Suit Guy, right?
I haven't written down as Steve the whole time.
And it's like, you expect this guy to be the real dead meat. Like, the real cannon and fodder of this movie.
But he surprises you.
He just is like, I don't know, some sort of horrible character that's like snobby, and he's a real guy, real easy guy to get along with, a real possible protagonist that I want to agree with.
He's the guy from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Basically.
He sucks. He's just like, whoa, what are we doing out here?
Yeah.
Some guys we're following this fucking guy over
Yeah.
here.
And he's apparently upset because they all got thrown out of a party due to one of his friends' actions, due to his bad behavior.
But-
they were asked to leave, and we cut from there to the other car that's following behind.
Oh, boy.
Where we meet Duke.
Okay, so Duke is the guy who got in the fight at the
Duke's
party.
what a jerk!
And
guy.
these guys, like, it's either a Yeti situation where we have two polar opposites that are best friends, or actually they're not friends at all. I don't know.
It's sort of a classic thing we see in these kinds of films where you cannot fathom how this group of people are friends.
Oh yeah,
Like,
this movie's
how the
such
hell
a classic.
do they all hang
Yeah.
out?
I don't know why you're hard selling this so hard. No,
Not what I meant, Hughes. But all right.
Hughes is he is. This might be the maddest I've seen him.
Seething.
Yeah, he really was upset this whole week, telling us like
We ruined his week with
I
this
thought
movie.
he was gonna message me privately and be like, my days are numbered.
I'm leaving the show.
So the slacker guy Duke, right?
And
there's-
Duke's interesting. He looks like John Travolta and Sylvester Stallone had a kid.
Yeah, and he's dressed like a Bronx warrior.
What is this outfit?
Like-
it's trash bags and tape. He looks like he's dressed like Quicksilver from the X-Men.
I could,
Oh, yeah.
Or I would say Linda Blair at the end of Savage Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see
Like,
that.
a fucking leather onesie,
And with his poofy hair, he was like her stunt double.
and he's also like he's a real like Jersey mook.
Oh,
this
God.
guy. I mean,
What are you talking about? Hey,
this is a fucking guy. It's a fucking guy. He goes around.
he's a real
order-
jamoke.
Yeah. He wants that thin pizza. Don't give me that thick shit. He's a real Jersey guy. Which is a lot of people in this movie, by the way. This is like a whole cast full of Jersey.
Bunch of Andrew
Jersey
Andrew Dice Clays.
Yeah,
this is a different kind of Italian ADR.
we're keeping that theme going
like-
at least.
Oh, I just thought of something. Duke.
Duke?
Like Duke Mitchell.
Oh yeah,
We got another Italian named
Yeah.
He's like Duke Mitchell's kid, He's like, hey,
God, I love that.
let's get him in a movie.
What are they,
huh?
unfair to Sicilians or something?
He was an artist.
So, he's got his Jersey Shore girlfriend in the seat next to him. And then we got, from what I can see, now, this first shot, there's only one person in the back seat, right?
As far as you can tell, it's
Yeah.
very dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be fixed in a minute when we'll cut back and all of a sudden there's two more people in the back. of the
there's like
car.
a hitchhiking thing going on, Like,
Hitchhiking ghosts.
oh,
It's just like,
another Haunted
ooh,
Mansion
there you
theme.
go.
This whole movie is full of Haunted Mansion themes. I think that's why I liked it so much.
So before we get to know these people at all, we've cut back to Billy. And he's still doing nothing. He's putzing around in the woods, and we quickly discover that he's being watched. He's being watched by some kind of cat man.
Well, you can't skip over the best part. Maybe the best part of the whole movie is he pulls a pack of snowballs out
Oh
of his
yeah.
backpack.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, he opens it up and he goes, "Here's to you, Billy.
Yeah.
Happy birthday."
So here's to you, Billy. Happy birthday.
Do you hear in the background during this is there's these owl sounds going, but they're not owls. There's somebody
Yeah.
just recorded themselves.
And there's
Yeah.
what sounds like a rattlesnake rattle, kind
Yeah,
of, but it's
it's-
not really.
The perverts of the woods. There's plenty of them, Hughes. They make sounds. They're like hiss hiss. Hatcha, hatcha. They're in the background,
gonna get you.
We'll make
heard
you
that one
famous.
too.
just echoing in the background.
Yeah.
And so this wood pervert appears, right? Sunglasses at night, so he's trouble.
Yeah.
And he's like, "First night away from home, kid." And I'm all, "Oh no, Bobby."
Yeah.
At this point in the movie, I'm like, okay, so I think I heard a man say something about he's going to rape a grave, and now there's a child in the woods and a man asking him if it's his first night away from home.
And he's playing with snowballs.
Yeah, I'm very concerned at where we're going.
Hey, at this point, I want to remind you this was not one of my picks. This was a pick from one of our listeners. Thank you, Julie.
There's a reason we stopped doing listener requests.
Whoa!
Oh.
No, we got a whole month of them.
Yeah, well, that's back in a big way.
That's true. That's true.
So then he says, "Give an old man a light."
And this kid pulls out a lighter, and that is... Where did he get this thing?
Like
This
a
thing shoots a
Zippo.
2-foot flame out of it.
And then he's like, "Hey, how old are you?" He goes, 13. Tells the kid to go home. I'm like, okay, maybe that's... Maybe, hopefully, this man's not going to grab the child
You know
and
what?
run like
He's
it's a mall.
just a creepy, concerned citizen who's out in the woods making sure kids aren't trying to run away from home for their parents forgetting their 13th birthday. This happens.
But he says, "No way, I have big plans." And then it gets more ominous as the kid says, like, "Well, I got a long road." And the guy says, "Be seeing you." And the guy says,
Maybe. But then he gets pulled right out of frame and murdered by the aforementioned Catman.
Yeah, a spooky kills the pervert.
Yeah, and this is a weird. This guy looks kind of like Nightcrawler from the
I was
X-Men,
going to
but,
say
Yes,
this is a
that's
Nightcrawler origin story.
but he's dressed like a valet,
Like
for a
Aladdin.
parking lot.
Looks like fucking Aladdin.
He's got like a gold vest on.
Well, no, he does. He looks like Aladdin's monkey,
Abu.
Abu.
He does
Yeah.
look like Abu. Abu has mutated, and he's got a hook for a hand. Why not? Sure.
Because there's not enough going on with this barely visible, blue on black scene that we have.
Well, you do have to say that the copy of the movie we watched was very bad.
I watched a high
Yeah.
def copy.
Oh, well, actually,
wow.
you did. So,
Yeah, he got that Blu-ray rip that was only on YouTube for a week.
yeah, he
Oh,
was
wow.
imported this from Canada.
So he saw a better version of this than we did, and he hated it.
Better? No, just better quality.
This guy.
So then we go back to the coffin rapist. He opens that coffin and he says, "For 7 years I've waited," and I'm like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" At this point, I don't know what's gonna happen because there's a woman in there, and I'm like, "Oh no, please, please no." Then we just see so I notice at this point that this guy, this quote old man, is clearly wearing a rubber mask.
Oh, it's like the Six Flags old man.
And yeah, it is like the Six Flags old man. And I'm wondering, okay, is this? I'm still wondering, is this intentional, or is he just like?
honestly, it feels like they couldn't find an old guy to be in this movie.
Well, I think it's also because they're going to have some practical effects come into it later. They need to have some
true.
way of rigging it, so it's
like a real Miami Connection scenario where you gotta get Jim's dad in there, and just pepper a young man's hair, and tell him to pretend he's old.
Yeah.
And so we've established that this old man, whose name is Creon, for anyone who cares, but
Not coffin rapist.
not
That's
coffin
his-
rapist. His name's Creon. And Isabel is the girl inside the thing. And basically, I guess he's been in the friend zone for 70 years.
Yeah. Well, okay. She's dressed in a wedding gown, right?
And he's not a friend.
Right.
He's just he is a predator that's held her captive for 70 years.
It's kind of like Hugh Hefner taking the grave site next to Marilyn Monroe, even though he never met her.
I don't know how far in the movie we get, but
See you soon.
every few years she just kills herself to get away from this guy, and every few years he brings her back.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
It's a real will they, won't they for the past 70 years as he's...
It's a long Friends episode.
And so right when we're about to explain this whole backstory, fuck it, we cut to the other people
Again, we just cut. So we go to car... Well, she's wearing a wedding dress, right?
She's wearing a white dress nighty thing. I don't know if it's a wedding
She's
dress
wearing
or
a wedding
It's
dress.
supposed
from
to
what
be
I
a
can
wedding
see.
Yes.
She's the
Wedding
bride, like the bride in the Haunted Mansion.
Right.
Now,
Certainly.
basically, if you go on the Haunted Mansion, it's just kind of spooky. So.
That's why I love the Haunted Mansion ride. It's the Spookies ride.
Yeah.
So we we go to the cars. Duke hits a bump. The girl passenger spills some beer, and one of the best lines in the movie.
Hey, watch the goddamn beer in the upholstery!
Then watch the goddamn roads and stop complaining.
Yeah, Duke, watch them roads. I'd like to try to have a couple of more beers in me before I'm splattered across the landscape. At the moment, I'm much too sober to appreciate it.
The line delivery on that is amazing.
The line delivery of Rich in the backseat of the car
Oh,
that follows that
the
seconds
fucking
later is amazing.
Puppet Boy, as we'll call him, or
Deezen, dude. He is
the Deezen
Deezen
of
from
this movie.
1941.
At first, I was like, "Is this fucking Michael Rappaport?" He was in this movie. I'm like,
Talking
oh,
out the side of
no.
his face.
If you watch 1941, the Spielberg classic, where Eddie Deezen is a ventriloquist with a dummy, same voice. It's the same exact voice.
Wow.
And he says, "Yeah, dude, I washed them roads. I'd like to have a few more beers in before I'm scattered across the landscape, eh?" And it's like, oh boy.
Well,
And we established that Duke is driving to find another party for them to go to because he's not done for the night. That ain't how Jersey does it.
And we'll start to get into this. So okay, first of all, then the fucking backseat puppet boy pulls out the puppet.
Enter Mookie.
Yeah.
His pet puppet. I don't know if you guys noticed in the copy that we watched, Rich's T-shirt is him holding his puppet.
Yeah.
oh.
Yes.
Let's see that.
I did notice that, and I was like, of course.
This is a real Dave Coulier with his beaver.
Cut it out.
I felt like there was a lot of fucking actor choices in this movie. I feel like a lot of people were like, yo, hey, I'm going to do my thing, all
I
right?
need something to make me stand out.
Yeah, hey, Is this shirt work?
And they're just like, fine.
Yeah, whatever,
Does
guy.
it show?
Also, I'm going to put on kind of an accent for the first maybe 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden I'm going to talk like this and just kind of drop it.
He's definitely not the only one who does that in this movie.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
a question. Are
yeah.
there any actors in this movie?
Yeah.
There's just people that they're filming.
Oh,
It definitely feels like the directors just called their friends up.
Yeah.
You guys want to be in a film from all over the place?
We got free booze and,
Yeah.
and a house, and we got one weekend.
This is all like, oh, the guy who plays Duke is like, he kills at parties. He's going to be great in this fucking movie, huh?
And so when Rich pulls out Mookie and starts playing with Duke, he goes, "What are you, queer something?" Which I didn't know puppetry was part of that.
Hey.
Was this some kind of gay puppet thing?
Sticking your hand up there, huh?
Hey, you know what they're doing over there?
Yeah.
They got puppets and all that.
Hey.
I just like the idea of ventriloquy being, like ventriloquist being like a gay thing.
Like somebody goes to a show like in Vegas and there's a ventriloquist, the doll. Someone's watching Jeff Dunham and they're like, oh, this is one of those gay shows.
You just see Duke in the eyes, fucking gays.
Oh, Dugan on vacation would be disgusting.
Awful. So while all this is happening, we cut to our parking valet Catman. And he drags a tree into the road and tosses it in their way.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
I didn't even fucking see that. So a tree's in the way. They
Yeah.
slam on the brakes. Goddamn branch is what Duke says. Then they just pull it out of the road, right? And then the suit guy's like, "Hey, this is what I had some real problems with." He says, "We've been driving around for 2 hours," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, 2 fucking hours."
It's a one-lane road. It only goes one place.
He's like, "Hey, you know what? We've been driving around for 2 hours, and you said we're going to another party." And he's just like, "Hey, I'll find us a party, all right? Shut the fuck up. Get in the car, let's go." And at this point, I'm like, just fucking go home. These people obviously don't like each other.
You have
just
a
go
separate
home.
vehicle.
Yes.
Leave.
And the other girl's like, "Oh, we're all friends. We got to stick together in this bizarre area of Jersey."
Duke's like, what, are we friends or something?
And so Duke's looking for a party. I read at this point, how do any of these people know each other? We'll get one line on that
I
later.
wanted to see that party
Yeah.
they got thrown out of.
I wanted to see like how all these kids met. Like, do you think it's like an It situation
Oh, it totally
or something?
Is. It totally
Like-
is. This was the Losers Club. All for different reasons.
Oh yeah.
you ever want to see what happened after the Breakfast Club? This is it.
So kid,
We cut back to Billy.
yeah, Billy. He walks into this big building and there's a fucking birthday party set up for him in a room, or so he thinks.
This idiot. Why would you assume that the creepy abandoned house by the cemetery is where your parents are throwing you a surprise birthday party?
Exactly.
Why does this kid have no fear? And we also forgot the part about where he walked by the nameless gravestone and said, "Oh, no name on this gravestone," and walked in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it said something
Tombstone
weird.
says life is so short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is another Haunted Mansion type thing.
a little zing. That's what you do when you have the young kid that dies. You go, "We didn't even get a chance to name him. Life is too short."
Aw.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
See you later. Or those are so stupid, acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Party store tombstones.
So he gets in, and this,
I'm sorry, but I think a lot of these tombstones were bought at the party
Oh,
store.
I do too.
Man.
Oh,
everything here was bought at the party store.
Hey, make a comment when you walk by that one, eh? Real funny. We got to get that one in the shot. We've worked on something like that.
We did.
Okay, so the birthday party setup, right? There's balloons.
Limp balloons.
a
Like they
card
didn't
to
have
him.
helium tanks, so they just kind of blew them up with their mouths and then hung them from the ceiling.
They certainly made Puppet Boy blow on those balloons. Like,
Yeah.
So there's a surprise party. Yeah, he's like, "Hey, it's a surprise party. They didn't forget after all."
We got a cake that magically lights its own candles. We got a toy robot that comes walking into the room 3 times.
And
It's like John Cleese running in Holy Grail.
I also wrote, I was like, yeah, this kid's a real dummy. But I just wrote, it's all right, survival of the fittest.
And that's the answer to your
let's
question
thin the
here,
herd
is
here.
like, you can be too stupid to be afraid of things.
Yeah.
There's
This
a
kid's
thin line between stupidity and bravery.
Exactly. You're right.
Because there will be multiple points where
A Dalmatian.
Actually, that kind of rings true to everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple points where we could just make a fucking hard left on the movie, but they don't.
No.
Instead, they just sit there.
keep going.
And
It
while,
just keeps going.
While this kid is looking at this birthday setup.
Oh,
that he
there's a
has-
cake.
Yeah, like I said, there's a cake.
Another
that lights its
movie
own
with a cake.
candles. Always gonna be movies of cakes. We cut away, because that's what this movie's all about, is cutaways, to apparently a Jawa from Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
And he's
like,
creeping around.
you're right, it is like a drama from Star Wars or the things from Phantasm.
And And this thing pulls out an ice pick at one point. He doesn't use it. He just has it.
So this is where
So there's a big ass box amongst all the presents on there, and he wants to open it up. And he's going around. He's picking things up. He's sniffing boxes. He's carrying on like a weirdo. And he gets this large one and goes, "What is this? A bowling ball?" And he decides he's going to open this one. And when he finally does pop it open, it looks up at him because it's Creon's head, who looks up and goes, "Happy birthday, Billy." And that's when Billy decides to run.
I couldn't tell that was Creon. It was hard to tell.
Yeah, I just thought it was another pervert.
Yeah.
This kid's just there's
Party
perverts
pervert.
everywhere.
It's like
Strikes again.
The old pervert in a box trick.
Yeah. Yep.
there's a lot of perverts in this movie,
Yeah.
to be honest, and I just thought it was one of many.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was him either. So
Yeah. Third date doesn't work out. Pervert in a box.
tell the kid happy birthday. Gets him every time. So they go back to the car, right? So the kid runs away.
And now we cut back to our party pals.
Yeah, Duke pulls up to this graveyard, and I write, so this is the party, huh? Obviously, he just found the first thing he could. He's like, all right, you
The
guys
first
want to
building
fucking
he could
party,
find.
huh?
He drove till he saw a structure.
So Suit Guy, he's like, has all sorts of issues with Duke. He's like, hey, we should get out of here. Somebody probably lives in this house. And he's like, hey, nobody fucking lives here, all right? We're going to go in. We're going to have a party in the middle of this fucking graveyard in this old house and shit. It's going to be great.
And we cut away briefly to Creon in his room. And he goes, "Welcome, fools." Because I guess he's watching this whole thing like Mum-Ra watching the Thundercats.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Puppet Boy. Keeps cracking jokes. You know, he's doing a little type 5 in the graveyard set.
Of course. And he's pulling a box out of the car that looks like he got fired from his job.
Oh, I think he's been fired a lot.
Yeah.
One of his jokes is he's like, with the graveyard being in front of the house, he goes, great way to fertilize your lawn. Hey. 2 crickets because nobody laughs. But he'll keep trying. He'll keep
It's a
throwing them
numbers
out
game,
there.
Mike. It's a numbers game. It just has to work once.
There's a lot of times where people will just throw lines out in the air and they don't really stick anywhere necessarily. They just kind of float on out and they're just never responded to
they're
or
like-
recognized.
yeah.
I could have written this movie. The jokes, at least.
It's true. He's as funny as this movie.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I can write one half of a joke.
So this is also
And then cut away to
Yeah.
something.
this is also what I first remarked in my notes about how Duke is dressed. Is like I just couldn't for the life of me figure it out.
It looks like he's going skydiving.
It's like you
like a
gotta
onesie,
see.
yeah.
It is. It's like Linda Blair's outfit at the end of Savage Streets, but
Yeah.
a little bit baggier.
Yeah.
Like I said, he does fit in with the Bronx Warriors. Very like he could be in one of those gangs for sure.
Yeah.
It's just odd. It's like
Just a bunch of dudes with perms talking with Jersey accents.
Do you think they were just like, went to the Halloween store, got him a costume or something? They're like, yeah, this will kill,
I don't know. I
Walk
think
around
that,
looking like a
that may have
ninja.
been. You bear in mind, this is '86. I mean, there's a lot of fashion choices happening. Everyone's kind of figuring it out.
Well, this is a hard choice.
It is a hard choice, but you want to stand out.
I think I want to look kind of like that Michael Jackson guy, all right?
He looks like a guy who just stands at the side when a bunch of b-boys are breaking. Like he never gets in. He just wants to be there.
Like
Because if he tried to get on the ground, this thing would rip.
Right.
Yeah,
like he
like-
goes for the head spin,
Nah,
the
yeah.
pants split.
He's just there to high five people after they finish their windmill.
he's a break-in extra.
So they reluctantly go into the house, even though everybody except Duke thinks it's a bad idea. But for some reason, everybody always listens to this fucking moron.
You get enough people together, they will follow the loudest idiot, even if he has no plan.
Yeah.
We go to Billy, another pervert. Spooky chases him in the woods. So again, another pervert. This is
It's
a
the
fucking
cat man from earlier, chasing him.
And at this point, it's like, kid, go home.
Yeah,
Like,
you should have
had
listened
the
to the
fucking
pervert the
chance.
first time.
But he slashes the kid's face, and then he gets in a grave.
Billy falls into a grave while he's running.
Yeah.
And there just happens to be a shovel there.
And what I can see is like he just gives up.
He just lays there. In fact, if you watch as they're cutting between, there is at least one part of this, one little cutaway, where Billy is literally helping. He is scooping the dirt over him to speed this shit up a bit. He does not want to be in this movie. And I get that. Everywhere he turns, there's a pervert jumping out of a box, jumping behind a tree. His parents don't remember his birthday. I'd be like, you know what? Bury me. I'm fine, Catman. You're doing me a favor.
It's like the director's little brother or something. He's like, all right, we're just going to bury you a little bit, And he's like, I want to go home. I got school tomorrow. Shut the fuck up, all right?
And the guy playing the Catman's like, this is really hard with one hand. You know how hard this is with one hand? Hey, kid, can you help me out?
Because I would say, he has maybe like an inch of dirt on him, and then he
Oh,
just
yeah.
goes, and
you
like
know
gives
what?
up. I'm
Yeah.
dead.
That's a wrap on Billy.
Yep.
What
Done.
was the point of this Billy character that we spent 20 minutes on?
None.
We'll get to it.
It didn't build anything. It didn't introduce anybody.
It only establishes the Catman. That's about it. It's to show that the Catman is a threat. He has to kill 2 people before he even gets to our main cast. It's just like
It's like
the
a cold
beginning
opening.
like
Yeah.
Friday the 13th movie when like 2 hitchhikers get their heads cut off before Jason even gets to the
Yes,
camp.
exactly. It's the cold opening, but the fucking editing on this movie is so shitty
That we
they
put the
decided-
cold open interspersed
Yeah.
with the actual movie.
It's a cold open with the fucking movie.
What if we would have just cold opened this movie to where the kid is walking into the mansion?
That's what it was. That's what it was.
It
but
should
they
have
were
been,
like,
right?
we gotta break this shit up because everybody thinks this kid's the main character.
It should have been a big pre-credit sequence.
Yeah, just
Like we get the
pre-credited-
Happy Birthday Billy, and then we go to the Spookies logo, and now
You just see the guy who's about to release it, and he's just like, all right, why is the first 15 minutes of this movie some kid being chased by various perverts until they throw him in the ground and put some dirt on him? Can we maybe cut some more stuff into the rest of this? Because people are going to be walking out at this point. They're like, I don't know. I don't really like where this is going.
it's fine. Let's go with it.
I mean, this movie's already like an hour and 20 minutes. I get why they had to have filler.
34.
Mine was only 120.
What?
One Blu-ray.
He checked out at 1:21.
Really?
Wait. This is Hughes we're talking about. Did you start at minute 6?
No, I watched it all the way from the start.
Did
What
you even know
speed?
what we were talking about?
I saw
this opening?
the
What
Spookies
speed?
bleed. Oh, I watched this at
You
2.
saw the-
If it can go higher, I would have went higher.
You saw the warm smile of the skull.
Yeah.
I watched it at 1, like
You
I
guys
do
get
every
any
movie.
dialogue when you're watching it
Liar.
at double speed?
I get plenty of dialogue.
I watch it all at 1.
You watching it like a fucking old silent movie? Like you're watching it at the Petty Arcade? Just ding, 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 this Catman burying a child.
Yes, Chris prefers his movies at Nickelodeon speed. So we go...
we cut back to Creon hanging out in the basement, and he's got a big chessboard that we're going to fart on about this chessboard a lot.
The literal chess. You know that saying where like everybody's playing checkers, but he's playing chess. Yeah,
That's Creon.
yeah. They thought it was fucking brilliant, so they're like, you know what'd be even better? Fucking guys actually playing chess. Am I right?
Man. And he says, when all the pawns have been sacrificed, we will win our queen back. Okay, cool.
So we go to the spooky house, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gang's hanging out. They're surprised the lights work. Once again, they think it's abandoned. They're like, hey, the fucking lights work. Hey, perfect
what?
for the party.
Was
Hey,
this place got electricity or something?
I hope everybody brought the chips. Oh, they did. Because we cut over at one point to a fucking table set up with like the chips and the hors d'oeuvres. And,
Yeah, this
like,
is-
fucking mobile party crew.
This
we
shit's
got
like
here.
half the parties I went to in high school.
I mean, when you get kicked out of parties all the time, you would eventually start like knowing that you have to bring the party with you and take
Yeah.
it with you.
It's true.
Yeah, he's like, I found it a lot easier to kind of just go into strangers' houses if I bring the food. So
And so Duke starts looking around, and he finds a shoebox, and inside he finds a carved planchette.
okay, before that happens, there is a line that I want to reference where the woman who's with the suit guy, who I will later call Sweater Girl, she says, it's funny, I grew up with these people. And that just kind of floats out there.
That's all we need. That was a note.
That's it.
No, I
Somebody
thought-
was like, how do these people know each other? Bam, got it.
I thought it went out longer than that. Like I grew up with them, but it's different. We've grown apart.
No, just...
No, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
mine. They watched it.
This is
Interesting.
like somebody gave the fucking director a script note. They were like, how do these people know each other? He's
Doesn't
like,
make any sense.
all right, hey, fuck you. I know I'm in my writing group and you guys are going to fucking bitch at me. So, hey, look, I'm going to put this stupid fucking line in here, all right? They all know each other.
I like
Now
the
stop
idea that
complaining.
they've all grown apart, but they still hang out all the
Still hang
time. like we're living entirely different lives, but come Saturday night, man, we got to bring it together.
Yeah.
You just constantly see these notes from friends. Why are they friends in the script? And he's like, hey, fuck you guys, all right? It's a movie. People are going to get killed. It's good. Shut up.
Like we got this British chick and her gay husband, and this mook from
Oh.
Jersey, and then you got this shoe salesman. None of these people should even know each other.
that fucking British lady. So
Oh,
let's get
Jesus.
into it.
We'll get to her. We'll
Yeah.
get to her.
Oh, yeah.
That
We got some stuff to unpack before we even talk about it.
because Puppet Boy, he's doing another fucking type 5 at this party,
Oh, he's
seeing
just
if he can
standing
drum
in the
up any
corner of the
laugh.
room, making all kinds of noises and whopping around the place and eating chips.
This
Well,
is
he-
a real like you're gonna come to my open mic this week, right? And they
Oh,
go,
this is the chop meat of this
yeah,
gang.
this is a
Yeah.
real. I'll
Oh,
check
yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Well, because he had no date, so he already has his hand up the skirt of his date that he brought.
Hey now,
And he's just like, will anybody talk to me and let me hit on your girlfriends?
Hughes, because I also wrote. That's funny you said that because I said I can almost guarantee he's masturbated with that puppet on.
Oh
his
yeah.
head.
so Duke finds this planchette, and it looks like a scarab beetle This is clearly the little for anyone who doesn't know what planchette is, the cursor that you use on a Ouija board. And he's like, what is this, auto something? By the way, take a drink every time he says, oh, something, and you'll be dead before this movie's over.
This is such a Duke Mitchell, man.
And
fucking odd, huh?
it was some good way. And Carol of the group is strangely drawn to it. We get a brief moment telegraphing what's to come, where she's staring at it. And so Duke's like, what else we got in here? And he's trying to open this locked door that he can't seem to get open. And one of his attempts to open it is apparently just smashing a wooden chair over the door.
Yeah, okay, so Duke is like a fucking 5-year-old, okay? This guy walks around, and if he sees a locked door, he's like, hey, you know what? I don't like that, huh? What are they hiding from me in there? That must be where the goodies are.
And he starts breaking furniture.
Yeah, and he's just fucking trying to break into this room. You keep looking at me. He was just shaking his head. He's so upset.
Was this the point of the movie? If they didn't break that thing and they just partied and they didn't touch that door and they could have just walked out?
Yeah.
They could walk out numerous
I
times.
mean, it's just like Cabin in the Woods. It's like, like if you just didn't go down there, you just didn't fuck with that thing, none of this would have happened.
Well, no, Cabin in the Woods, they locked them in, though. Like, there was a shell. But
there's the illusion of choice.
Right.
So he gets that door open, a skeleton tackles them, but then he's like,
rubberiest.
hey, I wasn't fucking scared, right? This thing ain't even real or anything. And he's like, look, touch it.
And this rubber corpse is, it's got a board game under its arm.
Yeah, and they're like, oh boy, it's a Ouija board.
Jumanji.
That would have made this even better.
That would be amazing.
It's they couldn't obviously get a real Ouija board, so this thing, I don't know what this is.
Was there licensing issues? What was the point of this?
I have no idea. I don't think they want to deal with it.
I believe at one point Duke's like, what is that, like fucking Parcheesi or something? He looks at the camera after, he's like, was that good? It's gonna kill, Duke, it's gonna kill.
Like the underside of the board looks like one of those drink and paint projects you do at like a mall.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have a glass of wine and fuck up this painting.
Yeah, what are they, they're called wine and something.
I don't remember the actual name. I went to one with
Wine and Wine.
Wine and Wine. That's how it was when I went, because I'm like, I can't draw the fucking building.
I love those pictures where like they'll bring like their whole group of friends and then like some guy draws like Batman symbol and everybody else has like sunsets.
And there's that guy on the end who just drew a big dick.
That just sounds like a fucking nightmare to me.
Oh,
Let's
absolutely.
go in a room and drink wine and paint.
That's probably like the worst thing about Groupon is like those deals.
The worst thing about Groupon is all the shit your girlfriend drags you
Yes,
to.
exactly.
You don't have to buy the Groupons. They're just there. Like,
Listen, there's a lot of pressure. And they go, it's only $30.
Look, I've met Hughes' girlfriend. He has to buy them. I'm kidding. She's nice.
so you've been to a lot of Wine and Wines?
No, God. Thank God, not yet. Not yet, but I plan to make like ashtrays and stuff.
The
What do you got here? Speaker box.
The Groupon does expire in a month, though, so you got to make that appointment.
Open up that Etsy store and just make money off of all you can. We saw Danzig through a Groupon too.
What, at one of those drinking
Oh,
paint
no.
things?
No, we saw Danzig.
He's making the Crimson
It
Ghost.
was a body paint night.
It was paint Danzig.
He was modeling. He's naked in the center of the room.
And he goes, yeah, all right, do your best.
I don't give a fuck.
So, okay, they find the idol thing is a planchette.
Yeah, and Carol, who was eyeing the planchette earlier, is suddenly an expert on the occult, and everyone's like, "What the fuck, Carol? Since when?"
Apparently the note card she's reading, because this girl all of a sudden just goes like, looks to the side and like starts reading a cue card like, the Ouija board was invented, and it's like she becomes a fucking Ken Burns documentary, and everybody's just listening to her. And one girl's like, the British girl's like, how's she fucking know about this?
Since when do you know anything, Carol? Why you?
Well, how do you play? Don't you need dice or something?
You don't play. The Ouija board is a tool for communication.
Communication with who?
The dead.
The dead? But they're dead.
Dying isn't the end, it's a beginning.
Aren't you supposed to ask it questions?
Yes. Some poor soul or souls are supposed to inhabit each board. They are duty-bound to answer any question put to it.
Since when has Carol been into all this weird stuff?
And we cut away during this back to Creon with his chessboard, and now he's got the cat man next to him, and he's kind of just fingering his hair, and he's going, "Good kitty." And I don't mean to kink shame, but this is weird.
Yeah.
He's got a grown man dressed like a cat. He's petting him and calling him kitty.
And filming it.
I mean, that kind of
Hey,
goes...
I've seen these videos. That's called revert. No, okay.
So they're playing with the board. Also, so I wrote Carol in my notes as fake Linda Blair.
Oh, yeah.
Because so too. She had the same hair, same like facial profile.
Yeah, we're definitely. If you put Carol in Duke's costume, we've got Savage. Savage Streets.
Yeah.
Well, we will have The Exorcist soon. I mean, we will.
Oh, we got everything. That's Evil Dead. If we're
But,
talking
I
about
mean,
what
like,
it's blatantly dripping off.
It
Yeah,
looked to
totally.
me like The Exorcist, like because it's Linda Blair and everything. I was just like, this is so.
But then she
fucking
straight up
weird.
turns into a deadite. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though.
So the great. Okay.
And so we start asking the Ouija board questions because this is a lame party and we need to do something to pass the time. And so Duke's girlfriend starts asking, is like, so how old is Adrian? That's our British girl. And as the planchette starts to move itself, we cut back to Creon, who's staring in the distance with a vein bulging in his head. And he goes, 24. Yeah, okay. sure she is.
She's like, oh, nice.
And so Adrian chimes in with, well, how old will I live to be? And he goes, 24. And everyone gasps.
And yeah, Linda, who's the Duke's girlfriend, who's using, she's like, I swear I didn't do it. I swear.
You're making it move. What you're doing it. And so Steve, as I've called him, the boring guy in the suit, goes, ask it when the hell we're going home. And it starts spelling out letters, Never.
And he says, I shouldn't have asked. And
Whoa.
also I'm like,
and there's the canned laughter.
The fucking door's not locked, guy.
Just leave.
Get the hell out of here.
You have 2 cars. 2 cars.
Like, you see him just show up to work the next day, and he's like, oh, you wouldn't believe my fucking night. I was hanging out with this fucking Jersey guy all night, going to a party. Like, why didn't you go home? He's like, we're friends.
One the story. Oh, my God.
And so it's Linda's turn to ask some questions.
Yes.
She goes, will Duke and I always be together?
And Duke...
Go ahead.
Duke's like, oh boy, oh boy.
It's getting a little warm in here. Let me tell you. And of course, Crayon's all, no. And she goes, well, will we be together a month from now? No.
And she gives him a look. He's like, hey, you're the one touching the board.
hey. And at this point, that's when Dave, who is the British girl's fella, is really cranking up the gay. Like, this dude's acting like a drag queen in the background.
Yeah, and they get all scared, and then
And she finally asks the big question. Oh, no, Carol turns around in her trance, goes, will we ever leave this house alive? No. And the vein starts really bulging in his head, and that's when...
I hate that vein. That vein was so annoying.
You had a problem with that vein?
Yeah.
he turns fake Linda Blair into a spooky.
Yeah, by turning the white pawn into a black pawn.
That's kind of a neat shot, actually, of him clenching the fist, and it's fine. Yeah. I mean, compared to everything else we've seen, Hughes, that's all right. That's the best we got, okay? And her turning into a deadite looked kind of
Well, listen, the bar right now is about as low as it can be set. Yeah. And, this...
The bar was unfortunately closed, and you would have enjoyed this movie more.
This white pawn to black pawn doesn't move the bar from
Well,
me.
we're doing little David Blaine street magic now. What's the harm in that,
I mean, I would say, like, I'm so glad they remade this movie and called it House 2.
Yes.
Because
how even dare you?
Because this is a real fucking House 2 this movie's going to turn into. Any sort of fucking fake Muppet creature we could get.
And Hughes is like, is this fucking movie over? And the movie's like, no.
I will give you 3 movies that I'll watch in succession instead of watching this movie ever again.
Okay, let's hear it.
Terminator 2.
All right.
Right into...
Oh, he can't do it.
I can do it. Rocky Horror Picture Show. And, I don't know, Evil Dead.
Well, that was random.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Hughes.
I had a middle one. I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
Medea.
fuck apples. It's all about oranges.
This has been a Hughes Blues.
Medea Boo.
Medea, I can watch every
by the end of
Medea
this,
in
Hughes is just gonna be
succession
playing a
instead of ever
harmonica
watching this movie.
So this is just House 2. This movie, it's going to become House 2.
God. No, because House 2 had a good ending.
What, the credits?
Well, that...
So 2 people... Okay.
That and Cliff.
Her eyes roll back. She turns into one of the Evil Dead, and she starts whooping ass on everybody.
Yeah, and then 2 people... Okay, so the gay man and the fake Brit, they run outside, and as I write, they're like a fucking Merry Melodies cartoon.
Oh, it's they're running outside and screaming.
And they're like, we don't have the keys to the car.
Where are the goddamn keys?
And then another guy just runs past them.
This is Lewis, who hasn't had a single line of dialogue in this movie. He's just been hanging out in the background.
And somebody told him, okay, Lewis, you're going to run, but you got to trip right here. And it's like the fucking actor like almost looks at the ground and goes, right there.
There's my
okay,
spot.
and it falls. Yeah.
And he takes a knee, and a tombstone comes up out of the ground, and it says his name. And we have not heard his name, so it means nothing to us when it has his name written on the tombstone.
As I write in my notes, apparently the gravestones are made of snake fireworks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's just this fucking... Somebody like put a snake as the name of this guy.
It is. And then before he can run anywhere else from this, he starts getting swallowed up by the ground.
Yeah, ground
It's like
eats him.
Blood Beach.
Yeah.
Then the cartoon people run back in the house.
And that's when we realize that we can't just leave.
Okay, that's also when we realize that she has slipped out of her British accent for the scene where she just all of a sudden decides that she's not going to do it, or she can't do it while she screams.
You know, it's probably for the best.
Like, so this was definitely an actor choice. She showed up on set and she was like, I think I'm going to act like this in the movie. And they were like, okay, whatever you say, lady. And just
so-
make sure you keep it. Continuity, you know?
So that's
and then
why-
she's screaming. She's like, oh my gosh!
Where are my keys?
That's my question. If you put Madonna into a life or death situation where she has to talk,
She turns back into real
does she
Madonna.
turn back into old Madonna?
She goes back to Who's That Girl Madonna.
Or does she stay like James Bond Madonna?
I don't know.
James Bond Madonna. So, Duke still wants to run for it because, as we've established, he's dumb as shit, and it doesn't matter what he's already seen. And the boring guy, Steve. What were you calling him, Mike?
Suit guy.
Suit guy. We'll call him Suit guy.
Because Duke's like, all right, hey, I'm getting the fuck out of here, right?
And Suit guy is like, did you not just see what happened? We can't run out of here. To which Duke says, you do talking, mister, I'm gonna fix your ass.
But I don't necessarily disagree with Duke.
About running?
You got the fucking cars. Get in the car
But
and
you
just
just saw
drive
the
away.
guy. The second a guy's feet hit the ground, he got eaten by the ground itself.
But he ran past the car into the grass.
Okay.
Just run onto the driveway, get in the
Past the
car.
car, yeah.
But all of
drive
this
down.
ends
Yeah.
up being
Where was he trying to go to? That's past the car.
just running.
That's
Fight or
what I'm
flight.
saying. He was like, fuck
Just, I'm
this.
gonna run as far. I just started running.
Yeah.
There's one road. Just go down
Stay
the
on it.
road.
That's what I'm saying. Fucking grave. It's the grave people aren't going to get you on the asphalt. Get in the car and drive off. Duke had the right idea. This dumb fucking mook had the right idea. Nobody's listening to him.
But aren't they like blocked at this point?
All of this
because
is for nothing because all this arguing.
Yeah, but they're also blocked inside this room right now. They can't run back out because the cat monster's out there pounding on the door.
Yeah.
He's just sort of creeping around the windows.
Yeah,
And they look outside upon this argument about whether or not they should run, and zombies have appeared. And that's when we realize that there's no point in going outside. There's a bunch of zombies standing around outside.
Well, again,
but not a lot of zombies.
no. I don't know if a zombie's going to get.
There's
gonna
upwards
stop a
of
car,
4
is all I'm
zombies.
saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably just plow right through that. So
I think so.
I'm saying they got 2 cars. They lose one. Who cares? Half of them will survive.
It was just like at this point you can leave. Throughout the whole movie, you can leave. Just get in the fucking car and drive away. But they don't.
So we decide to stay.
Yeah, the gang's in there, and then Duke, he decides the smart thing. He goes, you know what we should really do? Like I've seen a lot of horror movies. Let's split up, guys.
And
I'm gonna take my
doesn't
girl.
really want to go, but she's reluctant. And they're telling her, Linda, you don't have to. To which she responds, I'll be all right. He's taken good enough care of me up till now. And I'm like, he's literally moments from beating you. He's doing nothing but screaming at you this movie. You're like, yeah, he's all right.
Moments
You don't know him
beating
like
you?
I know him.
Yeah. He only brings out the fist when I'm bad.
Yeah, it's upsetting. And so they venture into the old dark house with a candle because we're in a Vincent Price movie, apparently. We cut back to the Meatloaf video with Creod down there, and he's still going on about, I sent you pics of my dick, so now you're my girlfriend.
Yeah, she's like, okay, what have you done? You've woken me up. Like Hugh says, is this the fucking 5th time?
Again with this. And he's, I will make you mine forever.
How many children must you kill? Like, who knows? So she's awake, right? So we basically find out through this that, when he, kills somebody, he, using these people, he somehow gets the power to bring somebody
X
back.
amount of souls that he claims will eventually revive her.
Yeah.
It's never really clear.
So she's back again, and she's like, oh, fuck it, this again?
And so if she's awake, why does he still need souls?
Well, just for the next time, So it's like,
He's banking them.
he's got to save up, It's like, well, if you reject me this time, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. He's just going to keep trying, At some point, she should just mutilate herself, just cut the head off, something just
Something
be like,
he can't
Throw
fix.
yourself into a fire. I don't know. How many years do you have to be kept on being woken up to?
Yeah.
You just don't take it anymore. Like, you know what? I'm going to control this.
Hughes,
this
please,
one thing.
Don't victim blame.
So we go back to the gang, right? And Duke, he insists him and his girl. Okay, we go to the suit guy, as I put Suit Guy and Company, which is the fucking suit guy, the sweater guy,
And our
our
comedian.
sweater girl, and the puppet boy, puppet master. They walk into a random room, and then the puppet guy trips,
And he starts screaming, it's got me, son, it's got me.
And the suit guy's, it's an electrical cord, idiot. And then we get more jokes. Puppet guy, I mean, this is when the movie starts to kind of veer into like the editors were getting bored because the puppet guy just goes like, he says, door number 1, Monty, and then he opens the door and it's
and we hear game show music.
Yeah.
or like a fucking.
By the way, rest in
Dodger
peace,
game.
Monty Hall.
Okay, let's try this one. Door number 1, Monty.
It was like a fucking the Dodger organ. Yeah.
And we don't see what he sees. We just say, and move on.
Yeah, fuck it.
You think the editors made it this far before they got bored? Because I didn't.
Clearly, they're like, we got to spice this baby up. Huh?
All will be explained.
I don't care what you're going to say at the end of this movie. I'm not going to like it anymore.
I have questions, and fuck your answers.
So we're gonna
right off the bat.
Duke and Linda.
Duke's trying to get it in the wine cellar.
Well, here's the thing too: is they're just standing in a hallway, and she goes, "Duke, I think somebody opened that door." And so he just goes, "Hey, fuck it," and then he just charges head first and falls down like 40 stairs.
Yeah.
Into a cellar, a wine cellar. Not only like did they keep the bottles down there, they apparently make them.
Oh, you got casks.
What a fucking strange place for a vineyard, am I right? I mean,
Makes the grape taste better with dead bodies and pervert pee.
And so
pervert pee.
Well, they have to pee somewhere if they're living in this graveyard.
Yeah, it's
well, we'll get into that. You're right, actually. So how's the fucking toilet? Am I right?
So they're down there on the floor of this like basement wine cellar thing, and Duke's trying to make it happen.
Yeah,
why not? Right?
She's laying in like the dirt.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Huh?
Maybe she's like, "No way, we're not doing this." And then he grabs like a old dirty blanket and whips it right into her face.
She throws it back, and he goes,
and this is cute. This is like they're flirting.
Oh, this is foreplay.
This is definitely a little ad lib on set.
And he's thinking, you know what? I'm gonna drink a little wine or something.
Oh no, you missed my favorite line.
Did I?
He throws the blanket over himself, and he goes, "Boo! Look at me, Duke the Horny Ghost." Am I right?
Ooh, look at me, I'm Duke the Horny Ghost.
You ever wondered how like two homeless people have foreplay and have sex?
No.
This is what this scene's about.
I definitely have not wondered that, but now we know.
Just takes his tent apart and puts it over him, and he's a ghost.
Hey, look at me. I'm the horny homeless ghost.
You're telling me if I ever walk down a dark hallway, like a dark alleyway, and I just hear rustling of change, I should maybe just go the other direction?
Yeah, I'll take you to Anaheim, show you where it's at.
So, okay, Duke finds this super old bottle of wine, a vino. And Linda's just like, Duke, I don't think you should drink that. Could be really old, could be poison.
Could be vinegar is what she says.
Could be vinegar, could be poison. And I was like, poison?
Sure.
Right, whatever.
Like, why is anybody going to just leave? I don't understand. Oh, it could be poison. There's just a bottle that's been laying there for 50 years. Is it just poisoned? And there's nothing around it? No, it's fine. It's probably vinegar.
Well, we know what Hughes would do in this situation. Pop it open. Take a swig, huh? So he does.
Gotta find out for sure.
It's fucking gross.
It's vinegar.
Spits it out.
He spits it out.
He was like, you weren't right, but you weren't wrong, I guess. So,
and she's looking up laughing at him when suddenly arms burst from the ground.
Well, there is a part, too, where she goes, it's so nice. She's like, it's so nice to lie down.
She's starting to get into things. Like, they're gonna make this happen.
Oh, they were. If it went on a few more minutes, there was definitely going to be a wine cellar fuck going on. So, yeah, okay.
Arms grab her, and it's a bit startling. That's pretty effective.
Well, at first.
And then up rise the muckmen, as they're referred to.
As they grabs her, there's just all of a sudden fart sound.
Yeah.
And let's splice that part in.
Whoa.
We got to play the audio.
Because I thought she was farting.
This is...
Sometimes you get startled.
I've been holding it on this long.
That would have been a great character trait. Every time Linda gets scared, she breaks wind.
It's like this group is like the Garbage Pail Kids.
That's exactly how I feel about this whole group.
The Garbage Pail Kids.
Garbage Pail Kids. Like, nobody wants them.
Like, you just take the card set of the Spookies cards and just toss them in the garbage from whence they came. So the corpse grabs her, it farts.
And these are actually some creepy looking muck men. They got pickaxes and weapons and they're coming, but every time they move, every time you try to fight them,
this is like a fucking Tim and Eric sketch or something,
Yes.
because all of a sudden the soundtrack is just overloaded with fart sounds.
like someone just going to town on a fart machine.
Or the button got stuck.
yeah.
It's like, did they let Duke edit it? You know, it'd be really fucking funny is he just put a bunch of fart sounds in there. Am I right?
I was gonna say, I think this scene, like, it is probably what disturbs me about the whole movie. Is you don't know what tone the movie is. Is it funny?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be scary?
Yeah.
Is it
like,
telling a story of some sort?
Are we tongue in cheek or are we failing at being scary? Like,
Yeah,
we don't know if they're in on the joke or not.
It just feels like they got to halfway through the movie, like, it's not scary, throw in the farts.
Fuck it, let's laugh at it.
Throw in the fucking farts. We're at least hard then soft, we're at least going to get them to laugh, all right?
And so in the scuffle with the farting muckmen, a pickaxe goes into one of these casks and wine starts pouring out.
Well, because Duke says something, he goes, look at the fucking water touched him, and he started to melt. And that's
And
when...
then she's like, Duke, you gotta hit this wine. It's like a video game. We figured out their one weakness.
Yeah, she hits a fucking wine cellar thing.
And we quickly melt them all down
Yeah.
with hundreds of gallons of old wine.
And we are now, like, the danger's over. Like, they live.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But the
cool.
farts continue,
The farts live forever.
Just a few little fart sounds into the air.
For 70 years, I've been holding these farts. No.
So the fake Brit and the gay guy, as I say, she's laying on the accent thick, but nothing happens in this scene.
They're fighting, aren't they?
They're having a couple's quarrel. They're having a lover's spat.
Where I really started to get annoyed at this movie. It's like, look, I understand that second acts are tough and all, but you know what's not fun? Just cutting back and forth between different groups of people while nothing happens.
Yeah.
No plot is advanced. It's just like, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. Cut to another people. Hey, what's around this corner? Oh, nothing? Okay. Go back to the people. I'm mad at you again. That's the whole, like, for the next 40 minutes, it's just over and over and over.
It's the
as
best.
these people try and fucking act their way through a student film. It's just...
just fucking leave them on the street where they found them. We don't need this movie.
So speaking of piss,
oh boy. So
our comedian Rich decides he needs to relieve himself.
yeah, he goes like he gets locked in a room, right? And then
Probably by some electrical cords.
well, fake Linda Blair shuts him in a room, right? So
She's
he walks
kind of
into a
around
room.
and unaccounted for most of this.
Yes, he gets locked into a room, and with all the supernatural stuff that's going in this movie, is he supernaturally locked in that room? No, the fucking cat guy is sitting there holding the doorknobs.
right.
Every time anybody gets locked in the room, it's because the cat guy's holding it. But you have fucking mind control, and you got all this other supernatural beings, but no, they can't
We
lock
got
a door.
one-armed cat man keeping you out of the room.
And he can't get out, so he just gives up. And at some point, he says,
I gotta take a leak. Hey, what the hell am I worried about? This joint ain't the Ritz. The whole place is a toilet.
But you did skip over a small scene with the fake Brit and her gay boyfriend as he pulls out a bottle of booze and he goes, "Finders keepers." And she's just like, what are you going to do with that? You don't even drink. You're a fucking softie. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll drink right now." And then he takes a sip and spits it all over the place and the scene ends.
Zing.
But they really are trying to outact each other.
It
was like, "You're going to get loud? Well, I'm going to get louder." And they just do that for about
shit's going in the
minute.
reel.
Yeah.
Losers, weepers.
David, throw that crap away.
Why? Because you say so?
Because you don't drink, you asshole. And you only get sick. God knows who's touched it before you.
I don't give a damn, honey.
Then we go to the fucking... This is what I write. We just keep cutting between groups. And I write, example, fake Brit, some chair moves, wakes up the guy who's fallen asleep. He goes back to sleep. Nothing happens. Mm-hmm. That'll go on for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Suit and sweater. Okay, so they find a hanging girl.
They do, and I think that's what you were referring to, Hughes, right? Is that one of the times that she hanged herself? Who is this woman?
I have no idea who she...
I don't think it's ever established who this is.
This is somebody else that, like, they didn't want to be murdered, so they killed themselves.
It was always my way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fucking picks up the note, the suit guy, and he's like, here's what it says. I can't see who it's written by. We'll never reference this again. Go to the Ouija board, and I just write, fake Blair does something. I don't know.
Fake dog woman?
Yeah. She tries... Okay, so fake Brit wakes up the guy...
Attempts to.
And then she sees his face has been slashed by, as I wrote, a puppet that's a mix between like a gremlin and a ghoulie.
I thought it was I thought it looked like the swamp thing. Like a swamp monster.
Like a swamp thing, baby?
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing is like...
I have them written down as the Fish Boys.
This is where this movie becomes House 2. This is like the fucking pterodactyl thing he finds, you know?
Except by this time in House 2, we were both on like, yes, this movie's picking up. This movie's just still going down.
Like this puppet...
Like a Zeppelin.
This gremlin ghoulie attacks her. She stabs it with a fire poker. She throws a couple planters on its head.
It's a hell of a fight. Like, she's getting bit in the back of the legs, and she's taking on some damage here.
But at the same time, the actress almost seems to not care.
Right.
She's just like...
These aren't professional actors.
And throws a...
Yeah.
Oddly enough, the puppets are emoting more than her. Like, the other puppet is watching on in terror as his friend gets murdered
so
by
are
this
there
fake
two?
British. Yeah, there's two.
Because it keeps... This is the most confusing continuity I've ever seen. Is we cut to like
I can't believe you're having trouble following this editing.
I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
I thought there was 3.
There's at least 2. Maybe there was 3.
Are you sure
Because
there's even 2?
They kill one.
Man, you got 4.
Are you sure
We're gonna
one
go 4 on
dies?
this
Yeah,
one?
sure
go
one
4.
dies. We
We're
get
gonna
that
go
death
4.
scene.
Yeah,
Okay.
doubling up.
Actual retail value?
So apparently there's a bunch of them. I thought there was just one, and they're like, this is just the most confusing editing ever. She doesn't care. She doesn't care to the point where I think she kills one, but then she stands up and she just goes, and shuts the door.
Right.
So she locks herself in the room with the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Characters are not smart, Mike.
And then she just kind of over a bookshelf. It falls onto one of them, and then she lies down on top of it, and then just kind of exits the room.
Yeah.
And that was a good 5 minutes of I don't know what the fuck.
That was great. It's the best fight scene in this movie. One of them, anyway.
But there's
So-
also like a Spooky standing at the window laughing the whole time. Like,
It's the cat man. He's in the background of every scene.
oh,
We see him walking up the stairs at one point. It's revealed that he's wearing these like jingly pirate boots to go with his outfit. Like, he definitely got this shit
He's
at
got a
Party
good
City.
style, I think.
I like it.
Yeah.
so then we just get the fake Brit. She walks around the house. It never ends, is what I write. It just never ends. Walking and walking and
Well, it's
walking.
about to end for her.
Yeah, but then we also got a scene before this where the lady, the coffin lady, and she meets her son.
Well, I have that next.
Okay.
The lovers' quarrel is like, so she's out, things aren't going well. She's like, I always hated you. He's like, you'll come around, even if it takes another 70 years, you'll come around. And she's like, he says that they have all these kids. And I'm like, oh no.
And the fact that he has to tell her that they have had children is creepy.
Like I said, so that term, the grave rapist.
It wasn't that far off.
Yikes.
Uncomfortable as it may be. And in walks the Jawa.
He says, would you like to see our son? And she just goes, yes. Like, it totally, tonally changed for some reason. And a green, so the Jawa walks in, and it's a green demon
His
boy.
face. He's got like blue makeup on his face, and he's got fake like
Bottom
werewolf teeth.
Yeah.
And then the bride just screams and runs downstairs, and the cat man follows her. And I write, no idea where we are. It just goes
So now we
nowhere.
started this thread of her trying to escape the building.
Yeah, here's the next note I wrote, Hughes. Suit and sweater. Nothing.
That's fair.
Literally nothing.
I really want to see someone give me a layout of this house.
Oh, God.
Like where the rooms are supposed to be in relation to each
Like
other.
I said, house
because
two.
we have multiple basements. Like we have like the wine cellar. I don't know if that's above, below, or next to where the coffin is with all the candles.
I thought the coffin was upstairs.
Maybe it's
I did
upstairs.
too.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing where this thing really is in relation to the house.
Where
It's on a
the
different
fuck
set.
is the bride running? Like, I thought they were in a different dimension.
I thought they were underground.
Yeah, now she's in Day of the Dead.
Yeah, I
And
thought,
she's just
I thought
like-
she was in a tomb.
She's running down fucking marble hallways and steps and all
That
I'm
stuff
like,
must
where
be
fuck
under the
are we?
graveyard.
That's
That
what I
must be a
thought.
subterranean.
Oh no, we'll find out at some point. They're upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
It's like at some point, do you think it would have been funny if one of the characters walks into the old man room and they go, "Oh, sorry, didn't know anybody was here."
Maybe it's like Cube. Like all the rooms are moving.
Yeah, I could see that. And the key to it all is the puppet man, And so the fake Brit, she's bleeding out, having a real bad day at this point,
Yeah,
right?
I think she was mostly already like close to death by this time.
She was about done.
Well, also it's 4 a.m. They told her she'd be wrapped by 2.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I'm fucking done, all right?
Dude, I gotta open tomorrow. You can't.
At the coffee shop.
Yeah, you can't keep me here this late, man.
Like, we got any more coffee? Nope. So she's just barely awake on set. She sees her gay boyfriend at the end of the hallway. He's a spooky.
Oh man.
Well, kind of. He strangles her with
It's a slimy electric tentacle monster.
a big tentacle.
It's pretty gross. Whatever this thing is.
Then her face melts.
See, that's the thing about this movie is it's like if you've ever seen the competitive special effects show Face Off, it's like one of the episodes was like, and at the end, we're putting all of your shit in a movie.
Okay, this movie.
And the people who won and the people who got eliminated all got their shit in this movie.
Yeah.
Has everybody here seen Ed Wood?
Yes.
Favorite movie.
This is definitely one of mine too. I love that movie.
Yeah.
This is definitely that fucking scene where they break into that prop warehouse and steal all the props because guess what, guys? At some point, we're going to get a fucking prop that I swear to fucking God comes from Alien.
All right.
Okay.
At some point, somebody's going to get attacked by a facehugger.
Facehugger, yeah.
Like, it is
That does
the
happen.
goddamn facehugger.
Absolutely.
At this point, we're just getting everything. Like, every sort of special effect, costume, whatever we can get, you know.
Coming at you rapid
Take
fire.
it all. Take it all. Whatever fits in the fucking van. Am I right? Fuck you,
know,
Paramount.
and honestly, that's what I love about this movie. They're just spitballing, man. They're like, I don't know, fucking a slimy mermaid with an electric tail comes
They're
out
throwing
of
and seeing what sticks.
So we go to the bride, and I say, "This is a different lady.
here.
This
It looks
is
like a completely
it's
different
fine.
actress.
It is.
Yeah.
A
It looks like she
fucking
got recast
different
halfway through this.
lady. This is not that fucking lady." And I rewound the movie, and I
I'm
was
glad
like,
I'm not the only one who thought that.
This
watching
is a different lady. This is a real like Dangerous Men type of thing where this is clearly not the same actress.
And she encounters, the first person eliminated from this episode of Face Off. Because this fucking witch thing shows up. This is this Sesame Street puppet.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like the fucking Halloween episode of Sesame Street,
Yeah.
like the Count's girlfriend or some shit shows up.
She's wailing like she should be hanging in a doorway.
Yeah, and this thing's like blowing red globes into her mouth or something.
Yeah, and it's throwing force lightning like Emperor
is-
Palpatine.
It has become like the set of Legends of the Hidden Temple. There's smoke, some fog.
It's his house too.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Then, yeah, the puppet, which you can clearly see, it's like one of those puppets that'll punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you press it, it'll punch.
And you can see Frank Oz underneath it.
Yes, you can clearly see the punching motion of the arms, and it's like this.
It's just a giant boxing nun.
In what world did this look good? Like when you filmed this. The puppet laughs, she falls over, but gets up and runs, and I write, nothing happens.
The scene was for nothing.
Then we go back to Suit and Sweater. They're reunited with Duke and Linda, and this is the best part is, I write, you know these people decided to separate, but when they see him, they're like, oh, thank God we found you. And Linda's like, oh, you guys okay? It's like, how far away were they from each other? I
Seriously.
mean, realistically, how big is this goddamn house? So they could have, I wrote, they could have fucking stayed together. They could have fucking stayed together, but they act like it's incredible that they've met up again. Then they just go ahead and recount the plot. But
Yeah.
don't worry, it only takes 2 seconds because they're just like, hey, what happened with you? Oh, this girl died. Hey, no problem. What's going on with the movie? Hey, I want to fight you. Huh? I don't like your suit businessman attitude, all right?
Fuck are you calling this thing that it has a plot?
Well, that's why I said it only takes 2 seconds. It's like, this is the point in the movie. By the way, if you don't know this, it's a little Hollywood trick. They do this all the time in movies, especially big movies. There will be a character at one point in the movie that'll just recount to you the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah.
It happens about 2/3 of the way through the movie where they think that the audience might have missed something important if they went to the bathroom, if they went and bought a popcorn. So go ahead and just recount the whole plot. So there will be a random character a lot of times that'll just walk in the screen and go like, oh my God, I haven't seen you. Is everything okay? Well, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then they just, they'll tell you the plot of the movie. So that's what happens here, but it only takes 2 seconds. Hey, I think this broad died, all right? Hey, I don't like you. You don't like me. It's time, fucking ring the bell.
Man.
Am I right, buddy?
It's time to do the man dance.
Because all of a sudden, what exactly happens? Like, Sweater Girl says something like, I think we should go, and Duke just says,
Why don't you shut the hell up?
Why don't you take it easy?
Nobody counts Duke Green out that easy. Especially you, Megan. Especially you.
Yeah, well, this isn't some fight, Markel. Can't wait to get spit.
I told you to shut up. You don't know nothing, you stupid bitch.
Stop it!
Get away.
It's the same thing that got them thrown out of that party earlier.
and then
His watch beeped, so he punched somebody.
he's like, I'm going to get thrown out of this party, too. 2 for 2. Duke, baby.
You know what? That's a solid plan. He's like, the last way he escaped a building was he started a fist fight. He's like, I'm getting thrown out of this place.
I feel like this is like, his calling card for when he goes to parties is he's always the guy that's going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
Duke was here. Put a steak on your eye.
He puts a little bumper sticker on the wall before he goes. He goes, "That's right.
Next
Never
to
forget."
next to where he elbowed the wall and put a crack in it.
So he go, "I'm taking my fucking Funyuns with me, by the way." That's right. Fuck you. I only buy Bugles. America's favorite snack hat. Am I right?
So we cut away to Rich now.
Well, okay. Yeah. Well, they do fight.
Yeah. They fight, and then we cut away, and we're going to come back later, and they're still fighting.
Yeah, they start their hardcore match.
Yeah.
Like,
because this fight's longer than the alley fight and They Live.
Okay, so Puppet Boy wanders around halls, and all of a sudden, some Asian lady appears.
Yeah.
And with her, stereotypical music as well.
It's a little... yeah.
Where the hell am I?
This way. I can help you find your friends.
Like, there's no gong, but they're like, well, we don't want to offend people, but it's all right to give it a little bit of that Asian flute.
And before each of these monsters and feature characters appear, we keep cutting away to Deadite Carol, who's fucking with the Ouija board. And just like, send me another one, and then here comes the next one.
Yeah.
She's like Rita Repulsa fighting the Power Rangers.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So this is one of her monsters, which is an Asian lady, so the yellow Power Ranger.
Hey, you ever seen that Kiss of the Spider Woman? I haven't seen it, but I imagine it's kind of like this.
Like, this is so bad. So an Asian lady comes out and she's like, she's all mystical, you know,
like
with
it's
like
just
the
her,
eyes.
like her eye. Yeah, it's almost like a vampire thing, where just the eyes, and then she kind of slicks back and forth. Oh,
You know what? It would be so fucking mystical if we found an Asian lady. Like, they're like the Orient, you know, and they're like, I think you should stop now.
That room, the way it
my eyes and
begins,
smell rice. That's what he's saying.
the way that room begins, it feels kind of like how I imagine a massage parlor entrance is.
It's just a rub and tug.
like a rub and tug on Halloween.
Spike cobwebs and pumpkins everywhere.
You know, for $150, we can give you a spooky.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
do you want a spooky ending?
Because
the spooky ending.
She does say, she's like, come inside for your spooky ending. And then he goes and like, yeah, there's just a bunch of like rocks and spider webs and
Did you
stuff.
miss the part where she goes, "What you do, you cop?"
She did ask. She did. But she does bring him into like a table. And he's like, whoa. Like, what am I doing in here? He's obviously.
And you know what? Rich is the kind of guy who'd go to a rub and tug.
You have to.
No
He's
question.
Do you think he takes the puppet with him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
The
Hey,
puppet's got its own
does
little
Mookie
table.
get a discount?
Yeah, Mookie goes, I do it better at home. Do you think he ever like? Never mind.
No, I think him and the puppet are going hip to hip.
I was gonna say, do you think he brings one for the massage lady?
Only she has to bring out a little puppet to massage it.
I think my man said they go hip to hip,
Yep.
and he goes, "Don't forget Mookie." And the lady just kind of looks at him like, "Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
$40 more,
yeah,
sir."
$40, please.
It's just the tweezer thing. You know he's mimed that thing having an orgasm.
Of
you
course.
know he's done it.
Of course.
So he arrives in a room with the massage table, and she goes, "Lay down. It's almost your time." But we cut.
And we cut back to the fist fight.
So Duke and Suit are fighting, right?
This is Peter and the Chicken from Family Guy.
I was like, this is like definitely like an old WWF hardcore match.
Oh, yeah.
You know, somebody's gonna get the catering tray to the head. You know, because they're really like they've really planned their spots because they chairs are broken, guys are flipped over tables. You know.
So is this the order that I went in for you guys?
Yeah.
So in the Blu-ray, I get like it's a completely different order.
Really?
Yeah, like I have the scene that's coming up where they get trapped in the room and he has to break through that door. That happens before the spider lady.
Well, no,
they do
we
a lot
kind
of-
of cut
they-
between.
Not the complete Spider Lady scene.
Not this complete spider lady scene,
But the first time
before
we
he
even
ever gets
introduced?
into
That's interesting.
Huh.
Someone has gotten in there and re-edited for the Canadian Blu-ray. I haven't watched the Canadian Blu-ray yet.
Bobby's definitely gonna order it though.
because
you bet your ass.
I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, man, we're out of order. And we did that earlier in the episode where you're like, I'm coming up to that. I'm like, that's 2 or 3 paragraphs.
Weird. So they've that is even
crazy.
weirder.
I'm sure it makes no difference.
Well,
So-
no, I mean, I didn't enjoy it any more than
Maybe that's why you didn't like it.
somebody
The rest
else.
of us
Fuck's
loved it.
gonna re-edit Spookies? Like, Jesus Christ! Just
I'll take a crack at it.
put it on there.
So, That said, so we're still having this fight.
Yeah, you guys are back in the fight, and they're going to somehow get into a room. I don't know how they did that for you guys.
So they do the fight. The girls get locked in the room, but while the guys continue to fight, they're like, "Oh no!" And then the doors lock, and then fake Linda plays with her board again.
And we summon another monster, and this thing.
So it's a Grim Reaper statue.
There's a statue that comes to life. The eyes glow. It starts moving. It's like the end of Loose Screws.
But it's like a Grim Reaper, so it's got a scythe and everything. Yeah. And Duke doesn't move at all because he's a tough guy, you know?
Stands his ground.
Oh, shit! And then it
swings and...
It takes him out.
Kills him.
It kills
him.
him.
Takes a big slash, and he goes jumping over a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
So, like, our
That's
favorite character,
Duke.
he's gone.
Yeah.
He's not accounted for. I refuse to believe he's dead.
It's like we don't even get a proper death.
It's like they ran out of effects. Like, I don't know.
So.
We needed him at least flipping it off from the grave. Go, hey, fuck you, buddy.
Seriously. We need that hand getting lopped off, but being locked in the middle finger position.
That would be incredible.
He needed to be like, fuck the Red Sox.
Cheetah sucks.
Well, he wouldn't be saying Cheetah sucks.
No, that's one of the Spookies yell at that. What did you say?
Oh, fuck you, man.
That's when he gets enraged.
Like the fucking guy revives him and he's got a Red Sox hat on. You know? He's like, oh, what the fuck is this, man? I'd rather be fucking dead. So he slices up, he leaps over a piece of furniture, he's gone. Goes after Suit Guy. Suit Guy like dives through the door.
This is amazing.
He fucking like human torpedoes through
He's had
the door.
enough of that shit, and he's straight up like the door is made of paper. It's like the end of American Gladiators, the Eliminator, where you run through the paper.
I was thinking like the MXC from Spike TV, where they just run through the walls.
Takeshi's Castle.
So they crawl through a hole at like okay, oh, never mind. I'm sorry. The Suit Guy dives through the door.
Yeah.
Like face first through a doorway
It's
and makes
insane.
a hole.
Yeah, he spears it.
And
Yeah,
then
like Roman Reigns through the door.
Or Goldberg.
Or Goldberg if you're older.
and they crawl through the hole, but Linda gets sliced on the leg. So from now on, she's going to just hobble around, which is more annoying than anything else. So that's just when I write this movie's turned into House 2.
Yeah.
And from this now, we've cut back to Rich and the Spider-Woman.
Yeah, so she says, all right, lay down, turn over.
And here's where we get to actually see the alien knockoff, because he gets a face hugger to the face.
Yeah, he says, what are you, nuts or something? And then the face hugger, which is the face hugger.
Absolutely.
That's why I say somebody
And it makes
broke
him
into that
fall
prop
back
room.
into a poorly assembled rope spider web.
Yeah, like
He
a
is now stuck
comically
to.
big
It is
fake spider web that you'd see in a haunted house.
It
And he-
looks like a Batman 1966 like villains.
Will Rich
Den.
and Mookie escape the claws of the Spider Woman?
and they're like, now you got to act like you're stuck too. And he's like, ah.
And while he's doing this, we're gonna watch this Spider Woman like slowly transform.
Slowly.
Transform.
Yeah.
We got about 8 different sequences she's gonna go through, and we really want to show each of them off.
All to just literally suck him dry.
Yep.
Yeah, he has just to stand there and make faces and go.
So in a way, a happy ending.
There you go.
Kind of got what he paid for.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the effect of him getting drained of all of his insides, because he just goes.
Yeah, it was a good effect.
Yeah.
So Suit, Linda, and Sweater, they're in some room. The Reaper breaks through the door like it's The Shining. They go out a window. They walk around the roof for a while. The Reaper follows.
And Suit Guy decides he's going to stand against this guy. He's had enough of running. He's sick of running from these wimps. And so he runs up and he grabs the scythe, and you can see smoke coming off like it's burning his hands to touch it.
Yeah.
And he just sort of casually pushes the Reaper off the roof, and the Reaper explodes on impact.
I love that.
I was just like,
What?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Then they just go back
It's like
into the room.
the glassware truck in Psychomania rolled
Yeah.
over.
They go back to the room like nothing happened. They're just like, yeah, that was fucking weird.
That's,
Am I
how,
right?
that's how Suit Guy fucking handles things.
So then they find some exposition, is what I write.
Yeah.
Who cares? Linda hobbles over and then knocks over a vial, and it falls. It melts a statue.
Look out, that's acid.
Yeah, he says, watch out, that's acid. And then Sweater Lady says, that's not acid. Not any kind we know of.
Ooh.
And I write, what? The fuck does that
I
mean?
didn't
I'm a
get that either.
biochemical
Yeah.
specialist.
Then Sukai opens a book, and in the most monotone delivery, he says, and I'll play it, but I'm going to read it to you. I don't know. Maybe find some way to fight these demons. Maybe something in these papers. I don't know. Maybe he never knew. But I do know this. I want to live. I think our way to do that is to make our way downstairs and get a hold of that vial.
Damn right.
This is a part of that. It feels like like those escape rooms, and you get to like one of the final clues. Yeah. That's what this was. It was dialogue written on a piece of paper that didn't need to be.
It was written in the book.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we gotta go downstairs for the last act.
Or I said you could get in the fucking car.
No. Like I'm looking at the car, but it's you saw what happened when you land on the ground. You blow up.
Yeah.
Now the floor is lava. We can't.
So grab some weapons, right? He
like
grabs,
ancient weapons. They've got like battle axes and shit.
Like they do some medieval times up in this shit, you know? Then basically the grave rapist tells his boy, he's like, all right, you should go out and kill people.
And he's explaining to him, a sorcerer's son must learn to use death to control the force of life or some bullshit.
Yeah, don't use the ice pick that he found.
You don't need that. You're the son of a sorcerer. This is a good father-son moment. I got a little teary-eyed.
It'll never go anywhere.
No.
Because then they go downstairs. So the crew go downstairs. Fake Linda plays with her board game. They walk in the room. It would have been funny. At some point, somebody walks in. Hey, Jenga! So they walk in this room, and she apparently fake Linda Blair apparently bought all the tiki torches in town.
Yeah.
Because they just all spontaneously go up. So fake Linda like looks at Suit Man, and he drops his axe, and then
she starts shooting lasers from her hands.
This is just... Then basically, like...
It's like Mike and Wash showed up at the end.
Her head opens up, and like a light's coming out of it, and a fucking
because she is no longer serving a purpose. Because Creon tells his son Corda that we no longer need Carol. They are your toys now.
Yeah.
And so they release Carol, and that's why her head splits open and starts glowing.
And everybody is like blinded and deafened, and the screen
and
gets
they
all
all
static.
age. It's like that spell at the end of Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah.
So Suit Guy crawls over to some lifeless remains.
He's the fucking Wolverine of this. It's the end of X-Men 3. He's like fighting through it anyway while he's deteriorating.
And they just come alive, attack him, but he just punches it. Then he throws a bone at like fake Linda. She blocks it with the board. Sparks fly. We will never see those people or anybody in that house.
This scene has no resolution.
No resolution whatsoever.
The whole movie has no resolution.
It's like there's a hope spot. Like, oh, he's Suit Guy's gonna save the day. Maybe, I don't know. We're not gonna watch that.
Because all of a sudden we cut back to the bride, and I write, it's been like 40 minutes.
I completely forgot that she was a part of this movie.
And at this point, too, because it's a different actress, she has different hair, parts of her clothes are coming up, you're like, who's this?
Yes, it's a lady like, I know the outfit.
Like, it was a character I completely forgot about because I don't care what's going to happen to her.
They're like, well, she doesn't look like the lady. They're like, but we need the outfit to fit. So whoever fits, just get her. She wanders around. She looks at a barred window, like, and then all of a sudden she goes into the room with the grave rapist, and she stabs him with an ice pick.
Right in the forehead.
His mind's eye.
He screams, right in his vein.
Screams, dies on the coffin. Outside the waterbed coffin, lightning strikes the house.
So she starts trying to climb down a trellis.
She's like
to get out, and she is suddenly confronted by one of the zombies who calls her Mama. I'm assuming that's one of her other kids.
Yeah.
Are we to believe that's what these zombies are?
Yep.
She screams.
All of her
runs
children
off.
from the 70 years.
Basically, like she runs around for a good 20 minutes in the dark.
It's so long. It's got a pretty cool song played over it, though. That music's pretty badass.
Yeah, I like the music.
While the zombies are grabbing at her, you do notice during this that some of the zombies are previous characters. We get Lewis from earlier who got pulled into the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
We get the pervert from the opening scene for a brief moment, sits up out of a grave with his face all clawed up.
So eventually she like gets in a car that's by the way, she ran around the grass, no problem.
Yeah, and back to the song, kind of sounds like Monster Bash. Monster Mash.
It was
like a
mash.
dance mix of Monster Mash. Now the funny thing is,
Couldn't get it cleared.
Hypothetically, Isabel has been in a grave for 70 years. She finds an old station wagon, knows exactly what to do.
Yes, that's what I was
She's
thinking
been
the same
dead
thing.
since 1910.
Well, as we know, like Hughes pointed out, this has happened a lot.
She's tried to escape a few times.
Yeah, maybe this happens every year, so she gets added like a couple of kids every time that she gets brought up.
Maybe.
So she says hurry, like she gets in the car and some guy goes, "Hey lady, what are you doing in my car?"
This new character shows
Yeah,
up.
I was like, oh god, I know this is gonna end horribly.
You thought they were adding a Mr. Fodder shows.
Yeah.
He was like, I was out there peeing in the woods, and
he's like, let me drive you out of here. And so they're driving away from the zombies like we talked about, and she kind of very, very plainly and very dully goes, I can't believe it. I'm finally free.
And the guy says, "But you're not free. Don't you realize I've always loved you too?"
Yeah.
She screams.
He
And we cut back.
Yeah, it turns into Aladdin again. Blue Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
It's the Thriller ending.
Yeah.
He's the Catman.
Yeah.
And then the last shot of the movie is that the waterbed grave explodes and the rapist rises and
Yeah.
Yeah, Creon rises out of his grave laughing, and then after that, they cut to Corda, his son, who just mugs to the camera and goes,
and we just forget about
and Finn.
everything.
Yeah.
And I
What?
write my last notes of the movie. You can't fucking just pick a new protagonist in the last 10 minutes of a movie. You can't do this.
you can't do this. There have to be rules against it.
So your recommendations, okay, let's see. Is it a Hughes choose or is it a Hughes booze?
This is a booze. Now, the worst part about this movie is because I know in 1986 or 1987, after this movie comes out, and I guess it may have had mild success, we didn't get the history on it, that you're running, you run into any of these actors, and they're at their coffee shop jobs or back in the office or whatever, and they go like, "Oh, I'm an actor." I'll be like, "Oh God, you're not an actor. Not in this. Just shut up. Just pour the coffee and leave me alone."
So Hughes, this is definitely not a recommend.
No. There's no reason to see this movie.
Bobby?
Hard recommend for me. This movie needs to be seen to be believed. It's such a fantastic failure that it becomes great. I feel the dial spun so far to one side it came around the other. It's just they're throwing everything at you, like trying to figure something out as they go. And
what is this everything you're talking about?
The different monsters, like every possible thing. There's.
I thought you were going to talk about plot.
You could have done a movie about one of these monsters,
or like.
And they're trying to link all this loose shit together. Yeah. It's an interesting experiment that I've never seen a movie try to do before. Like they came up with all the bits with the different monsters and then tried to figure out a story to keep it all together, and they fucked it up. And I kind of love it for that.
Man?
This is if you gave me a lot of money in junior high.
Oh, yeah.
And
this
access to a Halloween costume warehouse. And this is what I would probably have made. And so, and I was, this is like, me, I just listened to the Misfits for a month and I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do now. And so I recommend it because it just feels like, I like it even more after I found out the history of why this movie is the way it is that we're going to get into. But it's just such a train wreck. It's just something you have to behold it. To believe it.
It's a shitty haunted house that you get to go through.
Yeah.
My recommendation?
Let's hear it, Mike.
Absolutely not. This is
split decision.
Painfully fucking bad. Not even so bad it's funny bad to me. It was just bad. And I tried to like it. I love the background behind it, and I do recommend watching it for that reason, which we're going to talk about.
Right.
But there is no enjoyment to be had. Like maybe if I saw it at a midnight screening or something like that, I would enjoy it. But otherwise, this was, I'm sitting there watching people run around with no purpose for 20 minutes. And I was like, oh my God. Some parts of this felt like, any Patreons out there, it felt like Whoops to me. It felt like one of the longest things I'm watching. I watched it at one speed. I didn't speed it up. It is very slow in some parts. But it all makes sense when you find out what Bobby's going to tell us next on how this movie came to be.
And it's so weird. Just as an aside, like movies like The Room are so popular with people. They're like, "Oh, it's amazing. He says lines weird."
Okay,
and then this is way more entertaining than The Room.
Definitely.
I was at Beyond Fest this weekend for screening.
You went to The Room screening?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I saw Baby Driver and The Driver.
Fantastic.
Great. Both directors were there, Walter Hill and Edgar Wright. Great
Arguably
Q&A.
the highlight of Beyond Fest.
Oh, absolutely amazing. Screening of The Driver, by the way, which is apparently, you can only get on a shitty DVD. They had like the 35 millimeter. It was a great day. They showed the trailers for all the movies that were at Beyond Fest before the movie. And when they showed that Room trailer, every fucking person in that theater was just like, woo! Like just... I fucking love it.
I only get enjoyment from The Room for two things. Showing it to somebody that's never seen it before, because I'm not watching the movie, I'm watching them.
No.
And the riff tracks. And even then, like, the riff tracks is hard to get through like the second or third time that you're trying to watch this. I don't get enjoyment from watching The Room, but I will tell people to go watch it because I just want to see them suffer. And it's a great visual of suffering. And there's just, it's a stupidly quotable movie. This movie, Spookies, I can't quote a single line. I can't tell you a funny part where I like, where it's, I laugh There's nothing like, oh, it's so bad I laugh or anything. The Room, I legitimately will laugh at terrible parts because he goes cheap, 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 cheap is hilarious. And it's just, and then that backstory of The Room makes it even better because you have no idea where the fuck that guy's from. Does he actually exist? Is this an Andy Kaufman character? Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff for The Room.
Well, I also think that the background of The Room is much more interesting than the movie itself.
Yeah, we
There's
both
a whole
read the
book
book
about it.
Yeah,
the
the
book is
Disaster
actually
Artist.
very entertaining. As far as the movie adaptation, we'll see.
Oh yeah, not holding my breath on that.
But man, people love that movie.
They do, and it kills me. We watch so many better bad movies than The Room. The Room's boring. I get it. He's a bad actor. Yeah, no shit.
I think about it like if I had to recommend one movie from this podcast that we've covered before that people should go watch.
Dangerous Men.
Yeah.
Chatterbox.
It is the best bad movie I've ever seen in my life.
Dogs.
There's nothing better than Dangerous Men. It is such a fucking train wreck from beginning to end. And it's so like how never to make a movie.
But it was watchable.
Yeah, and because it's so bad.
Yes.
I'd probably go Raw Force if I had to pick one of our previous episodes. Not just because I had picked it, but
Bobby's
I think
intro
that's...
on the show, he's like, hey, by the
There's
way,
a reason
start
that was
there.
my first one that I came in
Raw
with.
Force.
What would you say, Chris? What would be the one movie you'd recommend?
I would definitely be Dangerous Men.
Not Tentacles?
No. No.
Mr.
Dangerous
No Legs?
Men or no, Mr. No Legs, but even Miami Connection. I think obviously Miami Connection.
I love Miami Connection, but I think I recommend Dangerous Men over that one.
that one.
And that one's one that nobody watches.
Yeah, it's a case
so.
study in this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I think Super Chick would be my actual recommendation.
Nice.
Yeah, you did love that movie.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, so why don't you get to the background of this?
Okay, so Spookies was released in 1986, or made in 1986, rather. It was made by a duo named Brendan Faulkner and Thomas Duran. They had met together and worked together on a movie in 85 called Igor and the Lunatics, which is a trauma film about it's kind of like a Rob Zombie movie. It's this evil Manson gang going around terrorizing people. And they decided, let's make this movie that we both have been thinking about doing. We want to make the craziest haunted house movie we can. About people showing up in a haunted house, different monsters attacking them. It's going to be fun. And so they put together this movie called Twisted Souls. They find this British film distributor named Michael Lee who's going to finance the whole thing. What they weren't counting on, though, is that Michael Lee is crazy. He gets drunk with power, basically, and starts taking over the entire project, micromanaging everything, making really bizarre decisions. But so they filmed this at the John Jay Estate. That's that big building they keep showing the exterior of. That's one of our founding fathers, actually. He's the first ever Supreme Court justice. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And they just moved in for a weekend and filmed this weird haunted house movie that they were really proud of. The majority of the effects were done by Al Magliacetti, who played Lewis. That's why he doesn't have any dialogue. He's actually the special effects guy who made a cameo. So here's where shit hits the fan. This Michael guy is kind of going sour with them, and he takes a rough assembly of the film, which is about 2.5 hours. Some scenes are repeating. It's just all the rough material. And he takes it over...
Hughes, the 2.5 hours cut of Spookies.
With scenes repeating.
Well, yeah, the same scenes.
But obviously that's nowhere near the finished stuff. That's just the raw material. They need to fix that, and so nothing's cleaned up. It's as rough a draft as you can get. And he takes it to Golden Harvest in Hong Kong and goes, here's our movie.
Oh, wow.
Obviously Golden Harvest hates it. They're like, what the fuck is this? And Michael comes back to the filmmakers and he fires everybody. He's like, you pissed away all my money. You're making this piece of shit movie. And he fires all of them and hires a brand new director to come in. And he didn't know who to talk to about it. So he hired just somebody down the hall from him who he knew had directed porn. Enter Jeannie Joseph. And he goes, can you figure something out with this? And she takes the movie and she hacks out all but 45 minutes of that rough cut. And goes, well, this is what I think is still usable. And he goes, can you just film some new stuff to throw in there? And so that's where we get Creon the wizard guy. That's where we get Isabel. That's where we get the kids, Billy in the woods, the cat man. If you notice, I don't know if you noticed while you're watching it, none of those people interact with the people in the haunted house even once because they weren't in the movie. It's two different movies that have been slammed into each other to try and piece together some kind of plot for it. As for the Muckmen, that was one of the situations, and the game show. This guy is just running roughshod over this whole project, and he's just like, I think farting's funny. And so he just inserted farts over it, and they were like, you can't this is supposed to be a scary scene. He's like, farts are funny. We're going to do this. And so the majority of the cast who filmed the movie, because it was 90% done when he took over, everyone who was involved in this project, except for this last director who came on to film the new scenes, none of them knew about this. So when they're watching it at the premiere, suddenly everything starts farting, and they're mortified. They want to run out of the theater. This guy apparently had some kind of fascination with bowel movements and farting and things like that. He would constantly come up to people on set and do the pull my finger like your weird uncle. And in
the middle of a take, he's like, "Hey, whoa,
I got one on deck.
I got one loaded."
He's a British guy, so he's just like, come pull my finger.
Pull my finger.
I got a meat pie ready for you.
I don't know if I can hold this one in.
All of a sudden, you just see the camera rolling, and then an ass comes in through it.
Just this out of focus ass.
According to people, somebody on the project in the oral history that I read, he even at one point wanted to rename the movie Bowel Eruptors.
Nice.
I think it will really sell.
He was so hung up on it. He was so proud of his farting scene. He was like, we're going to name the movie after that. However, as far as the title goes, this is interesting. Because he thought Twisted Souls was a shit title. He was like, this is going to be something else. And he had read that Goonies was popular. So he was like, I think we'll call this Spookies. And they went, Michael, we can't call it that. Here in America, that's a racial slur. And he's like, Spookies it is. And so the movie goes out with an outdated racial slur as the title of the film.
He's going to go, next you're telling me the word fag can't be said in America.
Okay, so you're telling me...
It's just a cigarette.
Go ahead.
There's this whole story of this movie and all that stuff behind it. And we get why it's terrible now. And Spookies, I forgot. I didn't even put that together. That's a racial slur.
Well, because it's so outdated, most people don't think of it as one anymore.
No.
There is a 2017 version of Spookies.
I don't think it's related to this. I read. I have to look into this some more. I saw you sent that to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Although
I don't know what this is.
The fucking synopsis sounds pretty similar.
It sounds like the exact same movie.
There's a haunted house for sure. It must be a loose, because the thing is, the rights for this movie are in such a weird limbo. Nobody knows who owns it.
Well, then
For
good
sure.
luck suing us for making one.
Right, I think that's what's going on here. Because one of the producers, what was it, Michael Lee, this weird British guy, has disappeared. No one knows his whereabouts. He's out of the business. It's a real trash from Bronx Warriors situation. Everyone's like, I don't know whatever happened to that guy. He could be dead. Some of the cast members, some of the producers, they've passed away since. A lot has happened. These people lived a rough life after this movie.
The only other person I have from the crew, by the way, is one of the 4 writers credited on this movie. The only other credit I have was that Anne Burgund was the associate producer on The Mask.
All right.
Like the Jim Carrey mask.
God.
That's the only other credit. Wow. I'm like, what a bizarre career.
Yeah. But one of the nice things about this movie, I don't know if you've looked this up though, Chris, is that one of the only things that really works in this movie, legitimately, is it has a bitchin' poster.
Oh, no, I have no idea what the poster
looks like. The Spookies poster looks awesome. They hired Richard Corbin, who was a famous Eisner Award-winning comic book artist who worked in heavy metal for the longest time. He also did the album cover to Meatloaf's Bat Outta Hell, which is ironic considering that whole scene that looks like a Meatloaf video. He also did the poster for Phantom of the Paradise. He's really well respected. He did this awesome thing. They showed him the movie and he's like, I don't fucking know. This whole thing is all disjointed. So he just put a bunch of shit from the movie in the poster.
Cool.
But it looks really fucking cool. All in all, it cost about $300,000 to make this film. And their total box office when it opened in America was under $18,000.
Oh,
wow. Oh, wow.
Oddly enough, it was released in France and Hong Kong before it was released here in the States, despite it being made here.
Bet it killed in Hong Kong, huh?
Especially that one scene.
Yeah. We got to appeal to our audiences.
It didn't actually get released here in the States until 88, like a full 2 years after they released it the first time. Wow. They couldn't get anybody to take this orphan. But apparently it did really well on home video, though. The VHS release sold tons of copies.
Wow.
They made at least $1 million or $2 million off of that.
I'm going to say it's that artwork.
It's got to be the artwork, because in the 80s, that's what you wanted. The VHS boom. People were picking it up based on that artwork alone. And it's obviously got a cult following now.
I mean, that's literally how I picked up Evil Dead, was like, oh, this artwork kicks ass. It's a guy with a chainsaw, and like picked it up. Yeah.
Most of my favorite movies. Chopping Mall?
Yes.
Oh, man.
What do you think that this movie would have worked as like a 1 hour special with commercials on TV, like a TV 1 hour Halloween
I think you
special
could have gotten away with it.
without adding all the extra stuff. Do you
Gearing
think
toward
there
a
was an
younger
actual
audience,
movie?
spreading it out.
Raven goes to a haunted house or something.
Yeah,
That's
just
so haunted.
something stupid.
That's so spookies.
That's so spooky.
Because I'm like, if you have a 45 minutes of a legit movie, obviously you can't do as short as a theatrical release, but you can do it on TV. You can do like, oh, it's new Halloween special, and then just put it out there.
Buy a Hallmark.
You know, Hughes should really be a Hollywood executive because I love the way he thinks. He goes, "Yeah, this movie's shit. Why don't we just cut it up, put it on TV, huh? Make a little Halloween episode out
Commercials.
of it." Commercials.
Here's an interesting bit. As I mentioned, the guy who played Lewis was the special effects guy for this movie, and it's pretty hit and miss with the special effects team in this movie. He goes on from here to work on Terminator 2 and Waterworld.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, one of the movies,
So
Hughes. See?
he figured his shit out eventually. And it wasn't that much longer later.
No,
A handful of years. What, Terminator 2 was what, 92?
92 or 93, yeah.
So this being 86, yeah, he got a handle on it eventually. And so things worked out for him and no one else. Like everyone else just kind of...
Well, we'll see. I got some of the cast.
Yeah,
Now, this
let me
is interesting.
tag you in on this, Mike.
Felix Ward, who plays Creon, only credit.
Oh, shocking.
We never got to see his real face, so what a
No,
shame.
what a shame.
Maria Petchukis, who plays Isabel, or the bride. I don't know which version of Isabel, but one of them. Now, she's only in 6 things, okay? But I wrote this down because, boy, did this go down a rabbit hole. And it ended up in one of the weirdest places I've literally ever been. Her first movie was this, and then she was in all the other credits she has is from a guy named Jay Lind. Do you know who Jay Lind is?
No.
Neither does anybody except for one dude on YouTube.
Okay.
Jay Lind is like, now you know the movie we've covered, I believe it's episode 19, Lost Faith, which is Joel Wynkoop as Steve Dakota, his Chuck Norris. Well, Jay Lind is like Joel Wynkoop, but he makes like home video pornos.
All right.
But makes them as real movies, including 2 that she were in, called one, Do You Like Women? With a question mark, and the other one was Night of the Cat.
Oh.
Do yourself a favor and look up those trailers because this is the fucking craziest shit you've ever seen in your life. Do You Like Women is a direct-to-video filmed on almost like a rapist, like a guy abducted women and made them
Yikes.
act in a movie.
That's horrible.
Of female
Night of the
of women in a kitchen, and Do You Like Women is that they're cannibals and they cook women.
right.
It sounds like a Weinstein hobby.
Yeah.
Night of the Cat, if you're looking up that trailer, go ahead and fire that up, Chris. Maybe if it's good enough, we might play it here, because this
Trying to find it.
is quite the
Oh
trailer.
boy, Not Safe for Work. That must be the one.
Yep, it's
All
definitely
right.
not safe for work.
Let's
Let's take a listen to this trailer.
see if it's the cat's meow.
No, I'm just finishing up. I'll be home soon. Are you gonna be there?
No way, I'm going out tonight. You want to join me?
Sorry, you know how it is. That time of the month.
And we're back.
So we watched it. I will drop a line or 2 from that trailer in here, but we won't drop the whole thing.
That was
You should watch it.
that was something. That's worth looking up.
Rather watch that 10-minute trailer than all of Spookies.
How dare you?
Jay Lind made quite a few movies, and Isabel from this movie appears in some of them, and they are all of varying degrees of
Weird.
madness. He's definitely probably behind bars at this point.
Undoubtedly.
Alec Nemser, who plays Billy. Now, he went on to be in quite a bit of stuff. 17 credits with appearances in Princess Diaries 2, Raising Helen, which was some Kate Hudson movie, and 2010's Valentine's Day, one of those holiday movies by Gary Marshall.
Interestingly enough, all 3 of those films gets buried alive. It's his signature.
Oh wow.
It's his
Yeah,
calling card.
with only like an
Kate
inch of
Hudson's
dirt.
putting dirt over him.
Well, by the way, somebody who got their start in Spookies, my boy Duke, Nick Gionta, ends in a vowel, so you know he's Italian. 1986. Okay, he only has 3 other credits besides this movie, but man, do I got a poster for you guys. 1987, he was in Street Trash. He was a gang
cool.
member in that
He
movie.
was in Street Trash?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
shit.
didn't see the guy who's like, hey, fuck you, huh? Then he was
That's where he
in
got his outfit.
1988, a movie called Spike of Bensonhurst. It's some Indian movie. It's some indie movie about an Italian
It's like he
kid.
went and did a Bollywood
No.
He's dancing.
I have the poster in front of me, and I can't stop laughing at this thing. This is the most Italian, fucking New York Italian poster I've ever seen in my life.
Duke Mitchell had this framed in his office.
Some indie movie about an Italian kid wanting to be a boxer, so a real Rocky.
Perfect.
Right? My favorite poster maybe ever is what I'm about to lay on you.
Ready for it.
It is a guy sitting on a curb going, "Hey,
Don't worry about
me?" With female legs around him. So he's like, "Hey, this is a movie, played well in the Bronx, I guess." Got people in. I loved it. Very 90s text on the bottom, if you see that. A real Spike Lee tribute there.
Oh, yeah.
Joanne Ellen Delaney, who plays Linda. This and Igor and the Lunatics. She was in that.
Makes sense how she ended up in here.
Peter, does it start with an I?
Starts with an I, yeah.
So it's Peter Iacillo.
Sure.
Iacillo
Iacillo.
Jr., who plays Rich. Very small roles in some random movies and TV. For example, he was terrorist number 1 in the recent Chris Rock movie Top 5.
There was a new Chris Rock movie?
Yeah, he wrote and directed it. 39 credits total. He was uncredited. His first role, uncredited as a zombie in Day of the Dead.
Fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Then he was also in 1985's Igor and the Lunatics.
Nice.
And he was also in Street Trash.
Solid.
And then his credited as being on Up All Night.
Oh, okay.
For an entire year from 91 to 92. Apparently, he made appearances on that show.
He was actually, I'd probably argue, one of the only people involved in this project that was proud to have been in Spookies. When the soundtrack came out, TerrorVision posted a picture online of him holding one of the copies of the record and being super proud. He had Mookie on his other hand. He had failing health in recent years and has passed away about a year ago. But he was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to wear this as a badge of honor that I was in this dumbass movie.
Well, not only that... But he also was in one of the directors of this movie is Brendan Faulkner's only other movie, 1992's Killer Dead. He also appears in that movie.
Nice.
He quit acting for about 10 years from 92 all the way until like 2002. And then he was in a bunch of small roles in bigger movies. So there you go. That's the background, the movie, everything all rolled into one here. Spooktacular.
Yeah. It's an interesting story. And Personally, I'd be interested in seeing what Twisted Souls was supposed to be.
Just take out every part with the wizard.
Well, no, because there's also half of that movie is gone. Half that movie got burned. Half that movie got buried with Billy.
Lots of sex scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious.
Got them all out.
Like, it would probably made some stuff make a lot more sense.
Yeah. I would,
Like, where the hell were these people coming from?
I feel
What was
like
even-
people paired off into rooms, Bobby, and we really got that rub tug, if you know what I mean.
Hey,
Like, I think
there may have been a Catwoman.
I think there was a lot of bum 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 bum.
She's loving it.
Like that wine cellar scene actually happened. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, anything else to add?
Do you hear that sound, Mike?
Oh my God, Hughes, how do you think Bobby and DeVito would fit into the world of Spookies? Hughes, you're first.
Fuck. It's really easy because this is exactly how it would fit in this movie. You're going down a dark road in the van. They come upon this house. They see 2 cars parked out in front, and they go, nope, and they just keep on going.
It's a sausage fest. Sausage fest, Bobby.
We're too smart for that, Bobby.
No.
Fool me once.
Man, what do you think?
I think, I said 2 possibilities. One of them was Bobby and DeVito are those skeleton remains in the spiderweb room going around, and Bobby's got this big old boner sticking out of his web wrapping. And then the other...
They're stuck in the spider web.
Yeah.
Like in Haunted Mansion, they have the talking bus. You know, the singing bus.
Yeah.
Like Bobby DeVito. Those 2 guys outside the home.
Yeah.
They just go, nice tits.
Just fucking doing type 5s on everybody that walks up.
I'm changing it to that. They are the singing busts.
I'm rock hard.
In the studs. I got a longer collar than you, DeVito.
You said you had 2 ideas.
And then the other one would just be Bobby and DeVito just peeking through the windows at everything that was happening and waiting for one of the girls to die first.
Just like the
and
cat
being
man.
left in a room alone.
This one's bleeding out.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, the fucking spooky got her.
Yeah. Soiled.
Clearly, my idea is that the waterbed gravestone.
Of course.
We know what comes out of there. This is one of the girls walked by and go, why is it so sticky? Why don't you come in and find out? Poof. Yeah, like instead of the grave explodes, all of a sudden you keep seeing it wiggle, and then all of a sudden a poof of hair kind of wiggles out of it. Or like, Bobby, we can hide in the dirt, and when these broads come into this house, they're gonna lay down eventually because people do get tired and they will lay down. So we'll just go ahead and bury ourselves in this dirt, and then when they lay down, we grab them.
Some of us have plans that are going to work.
Looks like we're not the only ones, Bobby. Decided to come over here. Competition is stiff.
Yep.
So, at the end, we have the thriller ending with the Catman in the station wagon. Isabel's screaming, she kicks at the Catman, she gets out of the station wagon, and over the bridge, she sees bodies of some of these zombies flinging into the air. And just distantly, she hears, the van comes tearing ass over the tombstones, flings the back doors open. Bobby and DeVito are like, get in! And she looks at them, looks at the station wagon, drops her shoulders, and walks right back into the house.
Could you imagine if she was running from all those spookies and she climbs over that wall and just the back door of the straight arrow's open, Bobby's making toast, like the toaster just pops up and he goes, oh, a lady.
What? You look like you're having a rough night.
You want a joint?
Would you like to have another rough night? Maybe you could help me have a rough night.
And then Vito just goes, get her! And then shuts the door. Well, thank you again for joining us on another episode of The Grindbin.
On the spookiest episode of The Grindbin.
Yes, part 2 of the yearly Halloween spooktacular, which always ends up being a disaster of some sorts, 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So.
That's our tradition.
This is very close to Quad Ed Zone in terms of how it was made and all that stuff.
True.
So it's just a yearly tradition. The one episode a year that Hughes will definitely be sitting out.
Be strangely ill next Halloween.
You can join us on our Patreon for a couple extras, bonuses. For as little as $2 a month, you can get the mini bins, which we released our first one, and we've gotten good remarks for it.
Yeah,
which
people
was
seem to like that.
The review of an obscure 1990s TV show, Whoops. And it's a real whoops that we recorded it.
It sure was.
Had a spider lady in it.
Yes, it did. And then we have
that's the theme of the show.
The return of Sick Reviews in there as well, which is everybody's favorite revolving topic. You can also vote on future movies in there. If you donate enough, you can even pick a movie. And we'd like to announce now that January will be our first Patreon Select month, where we're going to be doing all sorts of Patreon picks, because for some reason everybody signed up for the expensive tiers. Now we have to do a bunch of movies.
You like us and we're not sure why.
So by the way, one of them, Grindbin All-Star level, shuts off at 5. So if there's a couple more people, that's it. So that one you get to pick 2 movies and a commentary. So that's going to be interesting. The movies they've picked so far have been very good. You'll be...
Wasn't this one of them?
No. This was our friend
Not
Julie.
officially.
She is a member of the Patreon because she, like I said, she's a patron of this show. She's donated a number of times, just like all our other Patreons out there. We value every single one of them.
And a lot of Patreon patrons will be getting some select exclusive Grindbin goodies.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Coming soon to you.
We appreciate the Patreon patrons' patronage.
If you sign up before the end of this month, in our next month, which is a very special month, which starts next week. Because can you guys hear that music playing below us?
Oh my god, I do.
Is that Linda's voice?
Oh man.
Oh,
is it?
Do I still remember Linda? Of course I do.
Oh, how do you forget?
Because next week starts once again, fucking November just happens to be 5 goddamn weeks long for this show. 5 straight weeks of Linda movies. Blairvember 2017.
Yes.
The
Nothing
return.
will prepare you.
Yeah. So Chris, what happens if they sign up for the Patreon before next week?
You will be getting special limited edition Grindbin Blairvember 1.7-inch pins that are reflective and have an exclusive Linda Blair, who may or may not be Linda Blair for legal reasons, design pins that look very snazzy. And basically get your hands on them because they're very limited. They will go fast, and they're for our Patreon members. First dibs for them, and then we're gonna put them out to the regular schlubs, the schmoes, if you will. You know,
the plebs.
All the schlubs will be. You'll get your crumbs.
Basically, yeah, they have to pay. Patreon members, you get these little goodies, exclusives for free from us. And that's our way of saying thank you, but only at a certain tier.
Thank you to some of you.
Yeah, none of this $2 shit. No, you're not getting shit. $10 or above. And we're going to rename these tiers because they're lame. First, $2, it's going to be called Bobby, I Got the Money. After that, it's going to be called Bigger Than Dugan.
Yes.
And then we're going to do some renaming, so stick around.
Well, I'm keeping Grindbin All-Star.
No, we're
because
keeping
those
that for
people
sure.
are honorary Grindbin All-Stars.
Absolutely.
And our 2 honorary Grindbin All-Stars are Hugh and Dr. Faustus. So thank you very much.
Fantastic.
We're
Thank
gonna have to
you.
get some Mr. Crown levels.
Yeah.
Mr. Crown Executive Washroom. Mr. Crown Casting Couch. It goes on and on.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, I understand there's an office with a vacancy up in LA right now.
Hey, I heard.
Just saying, Mr. Crown might be moving.
You know, here's the thing is like everybody thinks that Mr. Crown is some sort of fake character. I keep telling people throughout the life of this podcast that is not fake.
You know?
That is through real experiences that I can tell you that those people do exist. And now you're seeing it in the news.
Yeah. Log on to the internet. You'll hear all about Mr. Crown lately.
And so we can laugh at him in a satirical way, but just remember, the reason we do that character is because that evil exists in the world. He is a real person.
It's really spreading awareness.
It's a hell of a town.
Oh, Hughes, you got anything else? Why don't you close us out, Hughes?
Why am I
Oh,
closing?
grindhousefilm.com. You can find us on Twitter at GrindPod,
yeah.
Instagram, The Grindbin Podcast, Facebook, The Grindbin Podcast, blah, 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 blah. Hughes.
Bobby, turn off this movie.
Playing with heart is a dangerous game. So don't play with mine. I'll put you to shame. It's a night for a night. You're in a flying range. And I'm standing my ground. No, I'm not afraid. Justice for all, justice for all. You get what you give when you've broken the law. Know what it comes before you commit it. Don't start a fight, I won't let you win it.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money. Yeah, I made the tea.
But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky got no real poetry.
Hello, pizza man. We're gonna play